So, about 2 years ago, I made a video explaining why I thought Cedric from Sofia the First was a great character, and that video was not only received quite well, but it did better than I expected. A lot better, and every now and again I get a comment from someone on that video asking me if I'm going to make another video talking about the show. And so, considering the fact that you're watching this video right now, I think it's clear that I have finally decided to make another video. Well, actually, I've wanted to make this video for quite a while. I think I even suggested the idea all the way back in my Cedric ranking of potentially talking about all the songs in this show and ranking them from worst to best. Since this show, generally speaking, has pretty good songs. You know, not all of them, but, you know, generally speaking, as I'm saying, they're pretty good. And I thought that would be an interesting topic to discuss in a video. Obviously, it seems I'm starting to prattle on about literally nothing. So let me just say one thing before we get to the actual ranking. That being the fact that the ranking will be primarily based on how good the song is as a song. There are other factors such as the visuals and such, but those will be considered less important on how highly I rank the songs compared to the actual music and lyrics, for example. Oh, and also, I'm not like a music professional, so I may not use the exact perfect language to describe every song in the best possible way, or know exactly all the instruments used or the type of singing in every case, but I will try my best to explain it to the best of my abilities. Anyway, with that out of the way, let us jump into the worst Sofia the First song ever created.
Sit down, soft dog. Not in there. Oh no!
Our Royal Plan, aka the Rompkin song from the Mystic Isles introduction episode special, is a bit of a disaster of a song. First of all, its part in the story is really stupid. This whole Rompkin thing is such a nonsensical waste of time. I don't even really like the Rompkins, so giving them a song is not going to work very well. And there's such a contrast between Sofia and Amber singing, and then the Rompkins singing, and it just throws off the song every time it switches between them.
When you toast, make a gentle clink, then set your chairs down carefully.
Left, right, we go. Whoa.
Oh dear.
Oh, and also, it's just like really stupid how Amber and Sofia get out of this situation. Basically, the Rompkins are just a bunch of huge, big, baby idiot faces, and they want Amber to be their queen, right?
Go free, boo.
But as their queen, she requests to leave, and then they just fold and eventually let her go after, like, literally a minute of singing. And they're like, oh, you made us so much better over the course of your one song where we bumble around and try to be polite.
To set us free.
Oh, happily.
I just can't handle nonsense like this. Not to mention, there's no real major chorus to the song either. The only line I can think of is them talking about fulfilling their queen's request is maybe sang twice.
You'll be at your rompkin best, following your queen's request.
But the song isn't catchy. It's not interesting. Like I said, it's chaotic. Its story purpose is stupid. Just about everything about it is pretty bad, and that makes it, in my opinion, the worst song in all of Sofia the First.
I'm a new horse now.
There are so many problems with I'm a New Horse Now. It's like, where do I begin? First of all, it's a Minimus song. Minimus is not the best singer in this show. Secondly, it tries to force in a backstory, with awkward singing lyrics of Minimus explaining what happened to him.
Got up some speed, and I tried a triple roll, but I lost control and conked into a flagpole.
Third of all, the music's not very interesting. Like, there's no catchy tune here at all, nothing emotional or anything. 4, a lot of the song just amounts to Minimus saying, I'm a new horse now, over and over again, which is boring and repetitive, and like I said, because he's not a very good singer, it just makes it even worse on top of that. Very bad song, definitely one of the weakest points of the episode it's in, which isn't even a particularly fantastic episode or anything anyway. It's the kind of song I'd be tempted to even skip past, or I'd be like, well, this is where I'm gonna take my bathroom break as soon as it starts. Very much not the strongest of the show.
We should let her spend this super spooky night, pal around with this witch crowd.
Super spooky night is a lame song. It is sang primarily by Callista, who is probably one of the most whatever characters of this show in the first place.
I'm an expert on every kind of fright. I promise I'll haunt you proud.
And second of all, it's just her explaining basic things about Halloween and why she thinks she can help be spooky.
Knocking when someone opens the door. Scare 'em like they've never been scared before.
Which is not very interesting. The song isn't catchy, and I'm not really a big fan of Halloween in the first place anyway, so it doesn't even get any sort of bonus points for theming or anything. I really don't know what else to say other than the fact that it's pretty underwhelming and just not very good. Moving on.
It could be what's wrong to you is just the right wrong thing for me.
The right wrong thing to do is a song where Clover tries to justify his morally questionable behavior. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the lyrics in this song are actually pretty smoothly written.
You can stop your little dance. I know you think I should have told her, but they say the truth is in the eye of the beholder.
The problem is that the song itself is not very good. Like, the fact that it's a song about Clover trying to justify his morally questionable behavior.
What if the thing that you call right is just the wrong right thing to do?
But furthermore, it just kind of reeks of the writers having no idea what kind of a song to put into this episode in the first place. I mean, it is a kind of a weird episode where they've got gnomes voiced by certain legendary hobbits.
Well, before you go, Princess, just know it's not the crown of blossoms you're wearing.
It's the crown of the gnomes, taken from our strawberry patch many years ago.
So they're just like, I don't know, let's have Clover sing a song about how he's gonna do a bad thing. Because I couldn't think of anything better. Even though I mentioned that the lyrics are pretty smoothly written, it's still not exactly super catchy or very memorable. It just kind of flows nicely in the moment. And that's the most positive thing I can say about it.
Yeah, I'm all fired up.
I'm All Fired Up is basically 2 songs in one, in which the 2 most insufferable jerks in the episode, the Royal Dragon, a genuine contender for worst episode of the entire show, might I add, are essentially fighting with each other by singing their songs and trying to overpower each other, and neither of their songs are very good. And the worst part is the fact that they keep interrupting each other and the song switches to a different song with a slightly different melody and completely different lyrics.
Watch me sing and dance, I'm all fired up. I'm in center stage where I'm meant to be.
And whenever it switches back and forth because they're fighting each other in their song, a lot of the lyrics are very forced in the way they respond to what the last person was saying, instead of it just flowing nicely.
Hello there, I'm still here. Let me make myself clear. It's about time that you learn that it's finally my turn.
Overall, it's not catchy, it's not interesting. Like I said, both the characters are being insufferable jerks in the episode, so watching that put on full display in the form of a song is not very appealing. The only possible positive I can come up with is the fact that the way they use the smoke and fire while flying around in the sky is kind of visually interesting. Kind of. Yeah, just not a very good song.
But I still dream of making dreams come true.
Making Dreams Come True has always struck me as not a very good song from the first time that I heard it. I mean, I'm just gonna be straight honest with you here, but Tizzy here is not a very good singer.
For that's what real fairy godmothers do.
And on top of that, the lyrics are kind of awkward and forced because they have to be about specific events in the past where she tried to help people achieve their dreams, but, failed.
My last dreamer was a ballerina who hoped to be the best in her arena.
Which, probably because she was being overly protective, which is the main theme of the episode, even though that's not explained in the song. But anyway, point is, the whole song's just a little bit awkward to listen to. But I kind of like the music of the background in the song, and there's a couple lines here and there that sound okay.
Then, oh then, I'll earn my wings and I'll fly.
But yeah, on the whole, this is a pretty bad song. Very weak. Who's That is probably a song you probably forgot was even in the show, if you even realized it was in the show in the first place, because it's the song that plays in the episode The Butterfly Princess, an episode probably most people don't even realize had a song, you know, because there's never a moment where the characters stop to just start singing a song and it's very clear there's a song happening. It's literally just Vivian and a couple other band members in the background singing a song while other characters are interacting and Amber enters the room. And it sounds pretty decent for what you can hear of it, but like the fact that it's entirely in the background and that it's really short are dramatically holding this song back.
Wow! Cool! Wow! Amber, you look just like a real butterfly.
I don't even know if there's a way to actually hear the song separated from the characters talking over it because it's all in the background. This feels like a case of a song that I wish I could like it more, but there really is no way to like it more because of how it's not really a major song. But because I'm very thorough, I have included anything that could be considered a song, which means this is included, even though it's only in the background for the most part.
I always thought to be your princess true. All that matters are the deeds you do.
A Princess True is actually an example of a song that isn't like inherently a bad song for the most part, but its rating on my list is tanked hard because of the fact that I absolutely despise the original episode that it's from. It's one of the worst episodes of the entire show. And also, it's just like, it's really cheesy and kind of stupid, even on top of the fact that I don't like Lonnie, the princess here. Like, the whole song is about how to be a true princess, you just have to be a good person. But that has like, that has nothing to do with being a princess.
It's how you act and not how you look. It's from within you and not from a book.
Also, Sophia, I hate to break it to you, but there are a lot of real princesses who are just actually straight up jerks, but that doesn't mean they're not a real princess, unfortunately. So you can't really judge who's a real princess based on how nice they are. Like, I'm sorry that I have to drag Sofia the First back into reality. Like, I know they're trying to just send a positive message to little girls in the audience, but, like...
You're kidding, right?
Oh, also, like, one of the first lines of the song just is so forced and, like, awkward. Like, it's literally, far from home, I'm lost at sea. Like, that's the actual lyric of the song.
Far from home, I'm feeling lost at sea.
Oh, dreadful. Did you hear that rhyme?
Like, who wrote that? That sounds stupid. Thankfully, the rest of the song after that picks up in terms of, you know, sounding niceness. But yeah, just all those various problems, mostly story related, is what holds it back for me. Like, I mean, this is what convinces Sofia that she's the real princess. You do realize an imposter could just pretend to be a nice person to appeal to your emotions. Nah, anyway, I'm tired of talking about this song. Let's move on.
Any deed for those in need. Wow, that's a deed worth doing.
Any Deed for Those in Need just comes off to me as a very generic song. Like, Carol here, that being Carol of the Arrow, is effectively just a Mary Sue, who's just perfect in every way and always does the right thing, which, you know, doesn't make her a very interesting character, obviously.
Don't just stand there, lend a hand wherever trouble's brewing.
But on top of that, the music of the song is kind of boring to me. I'm just not really a fan of these kind of instruments. I get that it's trying to go for a kind of Robin Hood-esque vibe, but it's, I don't know, it kind of misses the mark for me. On top of that, some of the lyrics of the song, especially at the beginning, are a little bit forced and awkward too. So yeah, not my favorite Sofia the First song.
When we find her, we'll be never lost again.
Never Lost Again is a song sung by the Pirates in the episode Pirated Away, and it's not a particularly catchy song, nor are the lyrics super memorable, but it does have a certain charm to it, I do admit.
Stick your courage to the boards, then sail through the sea of brimming hordes.
And the antics of the pirates happening on screen as they sing the song are pretty entertaining to watch as well.
We seek a lovely maid, golden locks and eyes of jade. Many years we've been searching in vain.
Nothing really too much special to say here. Still not a super good song or anything, but, you know, it's still far below the show's standards. I guess this is the bare minimum requirements for a listenable song.
The love we share.
The Love We Share is such a waste of a Disney princess cameo song in this show, because not only is it extremely generic and boring and slow,
Joining together is the key.
but it has nothing specific to do with Ariel as a person. Like, it's all about, oh, we must do what we can for our families. How does that have anything to do with, like, The Little Mermaid specifically?
We're all devoted to our family.
Not to mention, like, Sofia should already know this by that point. Also, there's no real interesting theme here because she's just getting Una's sister to help her rescue her own sister. Like, this isn't a case where she's appealing to, you know, the emotions like, well, if you would save your sister, then why don't you help me save my sister kind of situation. No, that's not even what happens in the episode. So, obviously her sister would want to save her own sister anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway. It seems like such a pointless song, because they're like, well, the Floating Palace is a special extended length episode, which means we have to include a Disney princess cameo. And if we include a Disney princess cameo, we have to include a song for that princess. Except they had absolutely no clue what to do for that song. So they just gave Ariel the most boring, generic song they could possibly come up with. Extremely uninspired and disappointing.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
But oh, what a vacation.
What a Vacation just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. There's a nice family message kind of theme to it.
Some bumps, a smidge of catastrophe, help to remind us all that we love being a family.
But it's filled with awkward, forced lyrics.
And then all our bags wound up getting lost, and we survived the monkey tribe and their awful berry toss.
And, like, I can just imagine if someone has no context for this episode, they'll be like, what the heck is the royal family doing on flying colored elephants?
Look out, pink elephants on parade, here they come, hippity-hoppity.
Like, I mean, this is a very strange episode that this song comes from. But yeah, on the whole, it's just a really boring song, I guess is the best way I could describe it. It inspires nothing in me when I listen to it. Well, other than, you know, slight annoyance at the awkward and forced lyrics that are often a part of it.
First, I thought that this would be a bore,
But the adventure we found has made us want to stay for more.
Plus, it has one of those moments where the song pauses for a significant period in the middle so characters can talk, which isn't always a bad thing if it, you know, is relevant and important.
Think you're saying?
We'd like to stay.
Can we? Yes, can we?
Well, that's okay by me.
But it does interrupt the flow of the song, and I'm not a big fan of that whenever that happens usually. The song would have to be exceptionally good for me to, you know, generally forgive that. Anyway, not a very interesting song, despite the fact that the visuals are very interesting. Don't let that mislead you, because trust me, you won't find this song very interesting at all if you listen to it.
Delight all Avalorans with our mighty Jacqueline cry.
Our Mighty Jacqueline Cry is like a super short song that plays in Elena and the Secret of Avalor when the Jacquelines first appear. And, like, I guess it's aggressively okay for what it is, but the fact that, one, it's extremely short, and two, characters start talking over the end of it.
Can you believe that, Sophia? Talking animals? Whoever heard of such a thing?
Ultimately makes it not a very impressive song in the grand scheme of things. And there's absolutely no way I could ever justify putting it any higher than this, even if there isn't anything inherently wrong with it in the way that it's written or implemented. Anyway, moving on.
It's your birthday, it's gonna be great.
Gonna Be Great, which is the song of the episode, The Birthday Wish, is pretty much the epitome of an underwhelming song. It feels like it's trying to be catchy, but doesn't really have all the elements it needs to be catchy. Like, a lot of the song is just Clover and the other animals occasionally saying that it's gonna be great in reference to Sophia's birthday.
Everything is gonna be great.
Party time!
It's your birthday.
My birthday!
So everything is gonna be great.
Don't you see? It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
I mean, I guess there's a kind of ironic nature to the song because of how not great most of the episode turns out. But yeah, as a song itself, though, I'm just gonna say, it's really not that great. And honestly, I don't know if I have anything else I need to say about this song, because it's, like I said, it's really underwhelming. It's one of those, we have to have a song because every episode has a song kind of songs, if you know what I mean.
We're Carol and the Merry Band. We do good deeds all day.
Okay, this next song, I don't even know if it has an official name, so I'm just calling it Carol's Merry Band, which is this extremely short little theme tune that she and her group sing when they help people or whatever. And, like, it's really not that interesting, but I don't have any particular notes on why it would be bad. I mean, as a little theme tune that you sing when you help someone, I guess it would work, but it doesn't really get anything out of me personally. Anyway, if I keep talking, I'll be talking longer than the actual runtime of the song, so, you know, probably should move on now.
When I start to make some waves.
When I Start to Make Some Waves is a song that Una sings in her overconfidence that she can be a grown-up, basically, before accidentally unleashing a natural disaster immediately afterwards. But that's not part of the song, of course. The actual song itself is very mediocre. It is filled to the brim with forced lyrics.
And my mother keeps on explaining that I have to wait on my training.
I like the little guitar riff that plays every now and again, the little dun 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 kind of thing.
All I can be when I start to make some waves.
And like the very end of the song is slightly better.
My skills are still unknown, but I have this mermaid comb.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it's just not that good, unfortunately.
Way out here in the woods, y'all. It's a Leaf Song Festival.
The Leaf Song Festival, the song, not to be confused with the episode, which has the same name, is an extremely short song sung by Clover for his entry into the festival itself. He also reprises this with a slightly longer version at the end, which I guess would be the main version because it's longer. But it's effectively him saying a quick line and then the Leaf Song Festival, which, I mean, it sounds okay. The instrumentation is nice, but it's just so short that there's, you know, literally nothing else to say about it. So yeah, it is what it is.
But when it comes to making friends, I just don't have a clue.
When It Comes to Making Friends is a kind of nice song, in a sense. You know, it's got charm, the lyrics are alright, the background music has a certain emotional vibe to it.
I know how to, all because of you.
Though it is a bit short, and the lyrics are a little bit specific.
I've traveled around the globe on hundreds of far-flung trips.
But overall, it's pretty decent, I guess.
'Cause that is what Wassalia's for.
That's What Wassalia's For is yet another song that feels like they included it just for the sake of having a song. Because it doesn't really have anything super specific to do with the actual plot of the episode or the characters. Like, I get that Krista is, I guess, singing the song because she's just trying to delay the inevitable because she has no one to spend the holiday with. And so Sofia constantly reminds her throughout the song that they're going to be late if they don't get going.
That truly sounds great, but we're gonna be late.
But, like, that's it. And you didn't need a song to convey that message necessarily to the audience. Nor does it really improve the way that that comes through in the final episode more than if it was just the characters talking in a scene. I don't really have any notes about, you know, the lyrics. It's just basically, look at this nice thing people do at Wassalia, basically aka Christmas time. That's what the holiday's for.
That is what Wassalia's for.
You know, repeat, and it sounds alright, I guess, but, like, that's just not good enough by this show's standards. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess they tried at least.
It's time to rise and shine, wake up and make the day
Rise and Shine is one of the most unique and interesting songs in the show to talk about because it's a song from the credits of the first episode / special of the entire series. And unlike every other song, the only visuals here, other than a couple clips reused from the actual episode, is of live action Ariel Winter, aka the voice actress for Sofia, singing the song in a room, which is so different.
But I know deep down that it will all be fine.
The song itself is nothing really special either, but it's just so weird that, like, this is even a thing, but, like, I mean, it's a song. It's technically in an episode of the show, even if it's in the credits, even if it's weird and different. So I'm counting it anyway.
Approved!
Like, I do like the line about how her whole life has been rearranged. I do like that bit.
My whole life was rearranged.
But the rest of it is, like, nothing special. Just very aggressively okay.
All these things I thought were flaws.
I see them differently in your paws.
In Your Paws is a song that I guess you could supposedly say is about empathy, which is probably the most interesting thing about the song, in that it has an interesting theme to it that, you know, you might judge someone who's different from you, but then if you were in their place, you would see things differently, and I like that.
I understand you better because I'm running around in your paws.
However, the actual lyrics and music of the song is highly mediocre.
At least I can say I've eaten lots of new things.
It's not exactly the kind of thing that I would intentionally pull up to listen to. Anyway, forgettable song from a pretty forgettable episode of the show, which means we can forget about that and move on.
This is the picnic of the year.
The Picnic of the Year is a song that I feel tries to do a little bit too much. First of all, it's just kind of a for show kind of song that just exists to showcase something in a bombastic kind of way, so it doesn't have any real story importance.
So let the fun begin and get the party in full swing.
But second of all, they try to use the song to explain everything about the picnic, but it kind of leads to a lot of moments of forced, awkward lyrics.
Picnic feast has food galore. I've never seen so many treats.
The grand buffet is here, my dear.
It goes on for miles.
And just a bunch of lines about various random things that don't necessarily jive that well together. I mean, the lyrics flow fairly well, considering how random the various topics of the song are, so I'll give them credit in that regard. And I mean, there is an occasional funny line, like the ants being sent away, that's kind of charming.
The ants were sent away from here.
They were sent away from here.
But yeah, for being a song that's supposed to get your attention, it just feels a little bit haphazard and slapped together to me. But, you know, it's not offensively bad or anything like that. It just kind of exists as part of this episode.
Break down the fences and come to your senses with me.
Come to Your Senses with Me is a song about senses, and specifically how you can use things other than just your sight to find stuff and interact with things and help you generally perceive the world. You know, of course, the context coming from the fact that this song is started by a character who's blind, showing how she doesn't need her sight to still be able to interact with the world and be able to discover things, which I think is a pretty interesting concept. However, the song itself is a little slow.
Instead of looking, feel all around instead, and you'll sense what lies ahead from a mile away.
And not terribly interesting, at least for the first 2/3. I do kind of like the ending bit where all the characters come together in a harmony. I think that part is stronger, even though they're basically saying the same lines from the song earlier. Just the harmony element makes it come across a lot stronger than that beginning.
We're on an adventure, seeking for glory, but what we can see doesn't tell the whole story.
But that's only the last third, so unfortunately most of the song is a bit mediocre, even if the ending is kind of nice. The visuals are pretty good too, though, I will admit, since this whole episode is very Indiana Jones-esque in the way they explore this lost pyramid. Peace and Joy is a perfectly fine song. It sounds nice. It has a bit of holiday spirit to it.
Friendly faces, warm
but it is aggressively generic. There is nothing about the song that particularly relates to the events of the episode or any character in particular. It's just an extremely basic, simple, Christmassy song. And it's alright for what it is, but I just can't justify putting it any higher because it's so basic. I mean, I could imagine some people might rate it higher just because it sounds nice, I guess. But hey, if that's what you think, then I don't know, tell me in the comments down below. All I'm saying is, it's a bit mid for me.
Learn this rhyme, it's worth your time. Soon you recite it on a dime.
Learn This Rhyme is a very interesting song. It has a totally unique style to it that I don't think any other song in the show has. The background piano is actually pretty catchy too.
But only if you get the gist and learn this rhyme.
Although, unfortunately, it's held back a bit by the fact that a lot of the lyrics are a bit awkward and kind of forced in places.
Lava paste has an ashy taste. Dry quicksand crumbles like white crust.
There's a couple clever rhymes here and there, which I guess is fitting for a song about rhymes.
The wax is grassy.
Let's not get sassy.
The slime is misty.
The mist is twisty. You're making me so headachy.
And it's sung by Wormwood, which is, you know, pretty unique. And you might think that would be a bad thing, but it's actually Jim Cummings singing, and Jim Cummings is a surprisingly better singer than you would think. I think the whole theme of the song is also pretty charming, and the visuals are very unique, so it does get some bonus points for that. But yeah, it has a lot of hard work to do to overcome the awkward lyrics, which is the main thing holding it back. Otherwise, it would be a pretty solid song.
You're gonna do it Wendel's way. I call the shots and everyone better obey.
Wendell's Way is a very memorable song in this show, even though it's far from the show's best. Part of that is just because of the fact that the song itself uses an electric guitar as one of its main instruments, which, you know, is a bit unexpected from a, you know, fantasy TV series.
Hey, hey, today's my birthday, but I'm going out of my head.
But also because Wendell's personality definitely leaves an impression, especially with, you know, the fact that he's got a couple pretty funny lines in this song.
What I want is what I will get. That's a promise and also a threat.
Like, this song definitely has personality to it, but there are three things holding it back a bit for me, and the first is the fact that the opening is a forced, awkward, songified backstory of why Wendell is doing what he's doing.
So I went and cast a little spell, got every flying horse in the land.
Second reason is the fact that Wendell himself, you know, has a more high-pitched, little boy kind of voice to his singing, which isn't inherently bad, but, you know, considering that this is effectively a villain song, it makes it not a very threatening villain song.
And let me tell ya, I'm just getting started. There's so much more I'm gonna demand.
And reason three, there's a bit in the middle where he's giving orders to the horses, and that part's not very interesting.
Jump! Spin!
But yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag of a song. Some positives, some negatives. But like I said, in the end, very memorable at the very least.
It's up to you.
Up to You is a song that Sofia's aunt, Tilly, sings to her right before she leaves her in charge of her house as part of a test, which is the point of the episode. And I like the way that this song relates to the episode and Sofia's story as a whole, as this is the episode right before she becomes involved in the secret library related stuff, which involves her taking on a lot more responsibility for herself as she is supposedly getting older. Although, I don't know, she doesn't really look much different at the end of the show from the beginning. I guess she just ages very slowly, we'll just assume. Anyway, this song is woven into the story very well. But how good is it as a song is kind of the more important question for this video, and to that I have to say that it is kind of a little bit mediocre. I like the background music that's playing during this song, and I like the end of the main chorus, where Aunt Tilly is singing, like, specifically the line about it actually being up to Sofia.
I leave it all up to you.
But most of the rest of the song involves shoving a lot of words into a short section of music, if you know what I mean.
So when it does, you mustn't fear. You can face this new frontier. Take a breath and do your best to make your problems disappear.
Feels like they're trying to force too many words into the lyrics of the song, is what I'm trying to say. It's not necessarily bad, but it does weaken the strength of the song as a whole. And even the good elements aren't like super good. So basically you take a pretty decent song and then you throw in a kind of weak element that drags it down a bit, and you end up here in C tier, is my point. Tilly has a nice singing voice though, I guess.
I'm not ready to be a princess.
Not Ready to Be a Princess is, like, I guess, an okay song in terms of how it's made. There's an attempt at making an emotional connection with Sofia, but that's kind of where the song fails a bit, even though it kind of works fine as a song and it sounds decently nice, because it's just comes off so entitled and unappreciative.
I'm too short for gowns, I look bad in crowns, and I'm gonna make a bajillion mistakes.
I mean, this girl goes from being an average, ordinary villager to literally being a princess, and now she's complaining about it.
Fancy toys and ginormous pillows. It's all much too much, too much.
As if it's too hard to be a princess, even though the benefits clearly and vastly outweigh the downsides. So, even though the song is supposed to make us care for Sofia, it kind of has an opposite effect for me personally. And obviously, you know, the rest of the show, you know, makes up for this one song failing here, but it's really not that good of a, you know, first impression for her character this early on in the show. And that's kind of the main reason why I'm ranking this fairly low.
I'm on my own, but won't give in.
Honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed with On My Own, which is effectively the last song of the entire show, and it also basically doubles as the final battle with Sofia and Vor in the last episode, where they basically just have a singing contest.
You're all alone. Your greatest fear has finally come true.
Just because I'm by myself does not mean I will fold.
Then Sofia gets power from all the Disney princesses or something, and love or something kind of generic like that, and then defeats Vor, which, you know, whatever. But the problem is, even though the song has this kind of dramatic feel to it, it's just not very interesting. The lyrics don't really flow together. It kind of just feels like the characters are talking, if you know what I mean.
Spare me your heroic speech. We both know you are wrong.
Okay.
And it is nice to see the cameo of all the Disney princesses who showed up throughout the show up to this point. I do think it's funny that this episode came out in 2018, but they didn't include Anna or Elsa or Moana, even though their movies had come out at that point, because they never appeared in this show. But anyway, like, I do like a couple moments, like where Sofia says that she stands for one and all.
How can this be happening?
Because I stand for one and all.
Which references the previous song in the same episode, a much, much better song, spoiler alert, and the final moment too where she says,
My love will be the end of you.
and then Vor is defeated and effectively destroyed, leaving behind Crystal Lady, the greatest villain of this entire show. Not. But yeah, anyway, I don't really have a lot else to say about this song. It's just a bit underwhelming for a final song of the show, and I think they could have done a bit better. But at least they did hit the mark on a couple of those dramatic lines with Sofia, which does still give the finale a little bit of weight. Plus, the fact that she defeated her with love is really not that important anyway, because the real plan to defeat her was to trap her inside the amulet anyway, so it's not really a plot problem if that's what you think I was implying. I'm just saying it's a little bit cheesy for a final confrontation. But, I mean, this is Sofia the First we're talking about, so, I mean, I can't expect it to be that serious. Anyway, could have been better. Moving on.
In this small new world.
This Small New World is a song that feels like it's constantly building up to some really great moment and then just kind of hit you with a whimper.
In this small new world, I'm buzzing like a bee.
Like, this is a song where it feels like the main chorus is somehow the weakest part, I think, is the issue here. Because the independent standalone verses of the song are mostly fine for what they are.
The flower bed's a forest, the garden is a zoo, and that falling rain is only drops of dew.
But they feel like they have a great build-up to a powerful, strong chorus. But then the chorus hits you and you're like... and all the steam that the song was building up just dies instantly. So even though none of the lyrics are awkward, the music is perfectly fine and all that other stuff, the song itself feels weak because of this very specific issue here. And thus it has landed itself here in C tier.
I'm a blue ribbon bunny and don't you know?
I feel like Blue Ribbon Bunny is a song that has just about everything it needs to be great, and it's executed fairly well, but just something about it doesn't stick for me. Maybe it's the techno style of the music.
When I hop to the garden, they stop and stare, plain to see that I got that flam, a little something called savoir-faire.
Or the fact that it's just essentially Clover bragging about how great he is.
Y'all give it up cause I got the moves and I got the hops.
But this song just, it's not special to me in any way, nor particularly interesting, and I'm not really motivated to go out of my way to listen to it, even though I can't really think of anything that it does particularly wrong. Like, I really don't know how else to describe it. It might just be an example of a song that's just, not for me, not my particular tastes or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's fine, I guess, at the end of the day.
We're birds of a feather.
We're Birds of a Feather is another Leaf Song Festival song that's super short. This time, Robin and Mia being the ones singing their song for the show. Anyway, it's a pretty nice tune, even though it's super short. But I just can't justify putting it any higher because even though it is pretty nice, it's like 3 lines long max. There is a nice little story connection here too with how, I can't remember, I think it was Robin who was trying to take over the solo, ignoring Mia. I might have that opposite, it might be backwards, but the whole point is that they realized they have to sing in harmony and not either of them take over as some sort of soloist. So, it does have a little bit more story relevance than Clover's song, which is another thing, boosting it slightly above that one on this ranking. But yeah, I've probably talked longer than there's even footage to represent this section for, so I really need to move on.
If I make a promise to a friend as grand as you, to that special promise, you can bet that I'll be true.
Keeping Promises No Matter What is kind of a funny song because of how ultra specific and coincidental it is. That it just so happens to be the thing that Sofia needed to hear in this particular episode.
Nothing can keep me from keeping my word. No swarm of bees or unicorn herd.
Because you see, the episode in question, Sofia the Second, involves Sofia creating a clone of herself who accidentally turns out to be evil.
Really love your amulet. It's so pretty and sparkly. Oh, this thing? Here, take it. Thank you, Sofia. I love it.
Wormwood! Did you see that?
But that's a whole nother story. In order so that that clone could do something she didn't want to do that she promised to do, so she could instead go out and have fun on her own. So the song in question is all about keeping promises to your friends. And this is the song that happens to play at the location she goes out to have fun on her own. So you see what I mean about the coincidental nature here.
That seems awfully convenient.
But obviously, even if it was the biggest coincidence in the universe, if the song was still good, I'd still say it's good. And, well, that's the thing. It's kind of aggressively average, honestly. Bordering on mediocre, but probably closer to average. It just loses a couple points because of the ridiculous coincidental nature of the song in the story of the episode, which pushes it into C tier for me. It's also got a kind of country hootenanny type vibe to it, which is far from my favorite musical genre, so I admit I might be a little bit biased in that regard. But I can't really think of anyone who would have this like high on their list of favorite Sofia the First songs, so I also don't think anyone's gonna really be that upset if I just say it's kind of mediocre, because it is.
This panda just wants to dance, to boogie the whole day away.
For a song specifically about dancing, I would have expected This Panda Just Wants to Dance to be a little bit better than it actually is. And that's not to say that it's a bad song. It's just Well, it suffers from a problem I have frequently been bringing up. Awkward/forced lyrics.
'Cause I haven't found people to dance for. No one's been around for miles.
However, this song suffers that problem to a lesser degree than previous ones that I've mentioned. I'd say at least half the lyrics in this song are actually pretty strong.
I'm more than you see at first glance, and I got the slick moves to prove it.
And then the other half are a little bit awkward, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. The boogie vibes of the music are pretty unique and kind of catchy, though, I will admit. And I do actually appreciate the on-screen dance moves being shown to us by this panda who wants to dance. So it has some stuff going for it. I just feel with a little bit more refining, it could have been something pretty great. But hey, it's still okay for what it is.
Listen up to what friends say. Together we can save the day.
Listen Up is a song that is so close to being good that it's a little bit frustrating. Like, the lyrics from most of this song are pretty good, the main background music is pretty catchy, and the visuals are great with the characters chasing Twitch around the city.
We got in 5, 2, 1, 1, 1. His stealing days are done.
But it suffers from one pretty significant issue, and that being in the first third of the song especially. And this is kind of a problem to do with the story of the episode. But see, Krista's an idiot in this episode, and she doesn't want to work with other people because she's better on her own. And so at the start of the song, she's like, I've learned that it's better to work as a team. And it just comes off so condescending and kind of stupid.
I finally learned the truth. We were better as a group.
And it really holds the song back a bit because the rest of it is actually quite good. So, like I said, it's really frustrating that it has that really condescending section in the first third. Because if that wasn't there, this would probably be at least B+. But alas, I have to drop it down to C tier because that's just
Stupid!
But I mean, I guess that's what you get when the song comes from a pretty weak episode of the show in general. Oh, and also I just realized too, this is the second song in a row that involves the panda who wants to dance. Kind of funny how these ended up like back to back. I think those are the only two songs he's involved with too in the entire show. Anyway, on to the good stuff now.
We are monsters of the sea, and our sound will set you free.
Okay, this next song is another song that I don't think has an official title because it's another one of those super tiny, super short songs. That being this little bit the sea monsters sing around the first time they show up in the episode on the Blazing Palisades where they're trying to take over and all that. And I mean, I think it's just a pretty nice short little tune. Probably one of the better short tiny songs that exist. I don't really have anything else to say, so let's move on.
On these wings of a dream.
You know, Wings of a Dream might be one of the most difficult songs in this show to actually describe my thoughts on because it's literally just the final song of the musical that is the main plot of the episode Sidekick Cleo. And so it doesn't really have anything to do with any character progression or story thread of any sort. It's literally just the final song of an in-universe fictional play. And I mean, it's fine, but there's really not much to say about it. Like, its only purpose is to basically show Cleo taking center stage as the lead of the musical. You know, finally stepping up for herself to do something she wants, of course, instead of, you know, always being the sidekick to Hildegard, which is the whole point of the episode. But that's basically concluded when she auditions for the part in the first place. So this song is effectively just a bonus at the end of the episode. I mean, if you can really call it much of a bonus, it's very average. But because I can't think of anything necessarily wrong with it, I guess it'll just be right here then on the list. I feel like my thoughts here are very underwhelming because I genuinely don't know what to say. Oh well, nothing to do but move on.
You're the cutest thing.
The Cutest Thing is a difficult song to describe. It's from the episode where a cute, tiny baby dragon, who's not actually a baby at all and is secretly an evil villain who wants to steal treasure, infiltrates Vivian's castle.
That was great. If I have to swallow that rattle one more time, I'm gonna puke my guts out.
And only Crackle can see through his disguise but nobody will listen to her. But before that happens, she has this whole jealousy thing going on because she thinks Vivian only cares about the new baby dragon evil guy instead. And this song is Vivian sort of showing a bit of favoritism towards this evil baby dragon guy.
I wanna dress you up and cover you with bows. I like every puff, too small for fiery stuff.
And a lot of the one-off verse lines have the awkward lyrics issue. It's not that bad, but they're not exactly super smooth.
Watch how I char a stick. That was your favorite trick.
Or super nice to listen to is all I'm saying. The main chorus is decent though.
Oh, you make my heart sing with your tiny wings. You're the cutest thing.
And in fact, it's good enough to mostly balance out the awkward stuff to still have this be a pretty decent song overall in my opinion. Though I'm not a huge fan of the moments where Crackle tries to interrupt and pull attention to herself, even if I get why for story reasons that's the case. Anyway, it's a very interesting and unique song, but it's not anything more than just okay.
It's your moment to shine, and you're gonna ace it.
Moment to Shine is a pretty decent, if somewhat generic, concert musical number. I don't really have many notes here, except for the fact that it's just pretty decent.
I know you're gonna be just fine. This is your moment to shine.
Everything about it is either just basic, decent, or kind of generic and not really much else to say. So like, it's good I guess. Not really a fan of Fluke's brief lyric during the reprise, which is technically the main version of the song, at the end of the episode.
I used to think I had to be the star of the show.
But I have nothing else to say past that.
You will find more to adore.
More to Adore is a pretty cute song from the episode Beauty is the Beast, which is a pretty clever title, you gotta admit, in which a princess is turned into a beast and must make friends with a goblin to break the curse. And so this song is effectively her and the goblin getting to know each other better.
We're just two people, or folks, not so different. It turns out with lots in common already, and that's what friendship's all about.
Like I said, it's pretty cute. The lyrics can be a little bit specific at points, but it kind of makes sense with the context of them trying to share their interests and quirky things about themselves that they like to do.
I love to dance the waltz, but my partner is my pillow.
Oh, that's just like me. When I play catch, it's with that weeping willow.
It's not a song I'd necessarily go out of my way to listen to, but I can't find any major faults in it. So I'd say it's a solid, decent song overall.
Look at me, I'm a buttercup. I may be young, but I'm growing up.
The Buttercups theme is a pretty solid song from the episode that I believe is just called The Buttercups or something like that, unless I am forgetting because I'm an idiot. Anyway, the song obviously being the theme of the group, that being the Buttercups, obviously.
We're growing up. We're buttercups.
Essentially a Girl Scout group, learning survival techniques in the wilderness and whatnot. Anyway, the point of the song is that it's supposed to contrast Baileywick's actions, which are in turn a reflection of King Roland's actions because he's overprotective of Sofia and won't let her learn for herself in the wild. So Baileywick has basically become a helicopter guardian for her. And his actions contrast the rest of the girls in the group, constantly singing about how they have to grow up, leave the nest, learn, and all this other stuff.
Every bird must leave the nest, spread her wings to join the rest. Before you fly, you gotta try.
And yet Sofia is essentially not being allowed to do that because of Baileywick's interventions on King Roland's orders. So I really like that visual audio contrast that we're getting, which ties in really nicely to the theme of the episode as a whole. But as a song, it's not super catchy or particularly amazing. It's just decent.
But that's not who I am.
That's Not Who I Am is one of this show's most popular songs. However, I unfortunately am not a huge fan of the song. I think it's pretty good. You know, it sounds pretty nice. It's got a decent emotional core to it. but I have two kind of issues with it. And it's mostly because of the story that it comes from. The episode in question being The Mystic Isles, one of my least favorite episodes of the entire show. You see, the song is Amber singing about how she, like, just is too selfish to be a hero, and she can't do all these great heroic things because that's not who she is, right? Which is an interesting concept for a song. Problem is, the context of this song is Amber being quite possibly the biggest idiot in the universe, like far stupider than average in this story. So the whole song kind of feels a little bit like melodrama, unfortunately, in the context of the episode.
That's not who I am. I don't have what it takes.
Especially since by the end of the song, her issues are entirely resolved anyway.
Yes, that is who I am. I'll fix my mistakes.
And on top of that, arguably an even bigger issue is the fact that her arc in this episode is just a repeat of her arc from The Curse of Princess Ivy. And I'm assuming they only did that because she technically forgot the events of The Curse of Princess Ivy. But they didn't have to do basically the same exact thing again, but worse in every single way. So it does unfortunately feel a little bit like we're retreading old ground by the time this song hits. I mean, this is season 4, for Pete's sake, and The Curse of Princess Ivy was season 2. I mean, I can understand why people like it so much, but just the context kind of ruins it a little bit for me. And even then, even without the stupid story reasoning, I don't know if I would rate it even just as a song on its own higher than B+ at best anyway. So just note that the story reasons are only really lowering it a tier lower than I would have put it anyway. But yeah, a slightly overrated song in my personal opinion.
These sunny thoughts always help to remind me that I can put those bad feelings behind me.
Sunny Thoughts is quite possibly the only good thing about the episode Stormy Lonnie, which is an absolute travesty of an episode in this series. But we don't have time to get into that here. We're just talking about the songs, of course. And for what it is, it's a pretty decent song, as Sofia tries to calm down Lonnie, who's about to give up for stupid plot reasons, but
Stupid!
Anyway, Sofia's method of cheering Lonnie up is decently charming, and the tune of the song is nice, I guess.
Taking a journey with a good friend. Seeing a rainbow when the storm ends.
I like the harmony at the end when both of them come together as well, so...
That's how we leave those bad feelings way, way, way behind us.
Yeah, it's got some nice elements to it. No notable flaws other than, like I said, Lonnie kind of sucks in this episode in general, but this is probably her least sucky moment of the episode, so I'll at least not dock points because of that fact. Yeah, just a average, decent song, you know, and an extremely brief respite in an otherwise nightmarishly terrible episode.
Protectors all have to be tough enough, tough enough, tough enough.
Tough Enough is a duet duel between Sofia and Krista. In the episode that introduces Krista, because she decides to prejudge Sofia as being a weak, frail, spoiled princess who isn't worthy of being a protector and needs to effectively be babysat through all her training.
This kind of training can be so draining, especially for someone like you.
While Sofia sings in the opposite direction, that she is, in fact, tough enough and can handle whatever Krista is putting at her.
I am resourceful and strong, and when I climb up that bluff, you'll see you've got me all wrong. I'll prove I've got the right stuff.
And it's okay.
Okay!
Honestly, I don't think I have anything else to really say about it. It's just okay. I don't even really have any specific notes to mention here or there. I don't know, just go listen to it yourself if you want to confirm what I'm talking about. After you finish this video, of course.
The broomstick dance!
The broomstick dance has a decent background music track and fairly catchy lyrics for the most part. However, it is held back by one factor, and that is just that I'm not really a big fan of witchy-related stuff in general, so it's kind of just gonna lose some points because of personal bias. That makes me not really care to listen to it because of that. Listen, not to sound like a weirdo, but like, I have heard of like actual weird stuff that happens in real life when people do weird ritualistic stuff like this, and it's a little bit creepy, so, you know, turning it into a jovial kind of song and dance routine rubs me a little bit the wrong way, even if I have to admit in an objective sense that the song is fairly well made. I just can't justify putting it any higher because of that personal conviction that I have.
Into the great unknown.
The Great Unknown is an interesting song in Elena and the Secret of Avalor special. It is a song in which Sofia convinces her family that they ought to go to Avalor for their vacation.
So let's get out of our royal home and all set out for the great unknown.
Of course, she does this because she has the secret ulterior motive to free Elena from her amulet. But she tries to convince them to go there for all sorts of other reasons, which does make the beginning of this song slightly awkward with its lyrics.
It's where everyone goes to trade. We can shop in their grand arcade.
But the rest of it is pretty strong, so it does make up a little bit for the slightly awkward opening. Only slightly awkward, it's not that awkward. It's a bit odd, though, that the song is called The Great Unknown, as if, like, Avalor is some, you know, dangerous wilderness or something that they're going to explore, even though it's, you know, just another kingdom. So the title's a little bit weird for the song there. I do like the little more quiet solo that Sofia gets near the end of the song.
To free this princess all on my own.
Really reflecting on the fact that she has a big task set before her that the others don't know about, and really her own personal mission is the only thing that you could say reflects the idea of this being going into the great unknown, whereas the rest of the family members of the royal family, it's really not much of going into the unknown. Anyway, pretty decent song.
The magic goes on for miles, the magic of the Mystic Isles.
Magic of the Mystic Isles, I feel like it's a song that has elements that are very strong, and because of that, it makes up for the elements that are not very strong. Let me explain. The opening of this song is very awkward. Lots of forced specific lyrics, borderline sing-talking at some points.
Every isle that you see is called home sweet home by all magical creatures.
But once you get past that, the independent verses do improve a little bit, where Sky is singing about the various islands and whatever their related magic is.
And on the Mermaid Isle, girls with fins splash everywhere.
But the background music that plays throughout this song, and especially the main chorus, are really strong.
The magic goes on for miles, the magic of the Mystic Isles.
And because they're so good, they make up for the fact that it has those kind of awkward elements, especially at the start. So while the song is slightly a mixed bag, whenever the main chorus hits, especially with the fact that it ends with the main chorus, it does ultimately end leaving a positive taste in my mouth, so to speak.
'Cause friendship is the formula.
Friendship is the Formula is like the most decentest song of this entire show. The theme is pretty obvious. Working together with friends gives you the best results.
Just add a friend into the mix. That's all it takes to fix mistakes.
Not very deep, obviously, but it's fitting for the episode that it comes from. The song itself has okay lyrics. The background music has this kind of jazz style to it, which is decent, but nothing special. And just, you know, ultimately, it's a song with neither anything wrong with it, nor anything particularly special or great either. Like I said, it's the epitome of decent.
Come along, everyone. Let's have some royal fun.
Royal Fun is a super whatever song. It's definitely another one of those songs that they clearly just made because every episode had to have a song. But it's also pretty short too, so at least you can't accuse them of wasting your time with the song. Plus, there's nothing inherently wrong with the song, it's just very basic.
Let's have some royal fun.
It's literally just a song about how the princesses and Sofia's friends are going to have fun.
Gee, that sounds safe. I mean, fun.
Very interesting stuff, obviously. Like, there's really nothing much to say about the song itself other than it's charming, I guess. Well, time to move on, I guess.
Our name is Smoke, Wings, and Fire, and we're here to inspire.
Smoke, Wings, and Fire is the theme song of the singing dragon group called Smoke, Wings, and Fire. And it's a pretty smooth song.
Tunes are smoking hot, your toes will start a-tapping, our vocals hit the spot.
Even if Sofia, Amber, and Cedric felt their time was being wasted while it was sung to them, they just don't appreciate fine art, clearly. Yeah, but anyway, the song itself is just decent. No offense to the master artists who created it. I prefer at least one or two of their other musical endeavors over this, let's just say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's not the fairy way.
The Fairy Way is a song about how the world is prejudiced against tomboys.
Excuse me? What did he say?
The Fairy Way is a song about how the world is prejudiced against tomboys. You see, Krista didn't get her fairy wand because the other fairies didn't like the fact that she wasn't all soft and gentle and proper, but rather wanted to do tough girl kind of things.
They say you're supposed to flit around all day and smile, but there were tougher games I wanted to play.
And so she's upset. But fear not, because Sofia goes to princess school and can save the day by teaching her how to be a true fairy. At least for one day, anyway.
Now that you've got a good friend here to help you fit in, so follow me just like you're dancing ballet.
Obviously, the moral of the episode is that, you shouldn't have to change your personality in order to fit in with what the world thinks you should be. So this song fits pretty well into the story. Obviously, it doesn't include the conclusion, but only the setup in how something bad happened to Krista, and now she thinks she has to do something else to fix that, which is pretty nice. I mean, if only I could say it's pretty nice about the rest of the episode, which is not a particularly great episode, but don't really have many other notes to mention. It's just decent.
Alas, it is not every day that a night such as I comes your way.
A Night Such as I is a song sung by the egotistical Sir Oliver, voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, by the way.
But I'm also quite famous for being the bravest and looking good whenever I fight.
And it is a very over-the-top song where he basically sings all about how great he is. It's got a kind of comedic value to it in that sense.
Oh, what a thrill it must be to behold the greatness of me.
And the tune of the song is pretty decent with a slightly catchy beat in the background. I think it's odd though how during this song it seems that Sofia is pretty disapproving of Sir Oliver, but then throughout most of the rest of the episode, she can't make up her mind about whether he or Sir Jasper, who's clearly in the right, is actually better, as if she was somehow convinced by Sir Oliver that he might actually be this great person.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
You see, this is a perfect example of narrative dissonance. And I definitely didn't accidentally use the term ludonarrative dissonance in my Screenslaver video or anything, because I had first heard that in a Daryl Talks Games video and didn't realize it only applied to video games. So I do think there's a little bit of, weak writing going on in that sense, but the song itself is pretty good for what it is.
Wiggly, wiggly, woggly, woogly, I love my daughter.
Woogly woggly woogly woo, I love my dad.
Dad's and Daughter's song is a really interesting song in Sofia the First. First of all, it's a very silly song, but I can get on board with that. The main chorus is surprisingly catchy too, despite the fact that it's so silly.
Together we go zippy zappy, ooter otter otter, gooly golly gooly golly dad.
The song itself is also very short, but that's kind of because it gets cut off as soon as it gets to Sofia and King Roland, because Sofia literally has nothing that she can say for her part of the song.
When I was 5, my dad and I,
Because when she was 5, her dad was kind of deceased.
He died? And this is supposed to be a kid's movie.
Since, as you know, she only became King Roland's daughter because her mom married the king. So it's actually a pretty dramatic and kind of emotional moment if you really think about it, which is a little bit odd at the end of such a silly song, but it kind of does hit you in the feels a little bit, realizing that she genuinely feels like she's disconnected from her father, unlike all the other daughters here. And it's one of those moments that really sticks with you. You do genuinely feel bad for Sofia here. But anyway, either in the silly sense or in the emotional sense, this song works pretty decently well. Though, like I said, because of the abrupt ending, it's hard to just, go and listen to it, especially when it's supposed to be 4 verses and choruses and it only ends up being 2. Although, at the end of the episode, Sofia and Roland do get to sing effectively their part, but because it's separate from the main part earlier in the episode, and is less catchy, I'm not really factoring that into the rating if you're wondering. Though it is a nice way to close out the episode. Curse you emotional story moments for shortening this song that could have been even better. Anyway, moving on.
I'm taking my first flight, I'm gonna leave tonight.
My First Flight is a pretty charming and somewhat inspirational song. The better of the 2 songs from the episode Sidekick Cleo, which, by the way, it's pretty unusual for a standard 20-minute episode to have more than 1 song in it. But anyway, I like how the song, even though it's technically supposed to be a musical number from the play, mirrors Cleo's arc in this episode, how she has to step out on her own for once.
I'm a bird who never leaves the nest. I don't take risks. I hide behind the rest.
To have the courage to be independent and stand up for herself.
I'm gonna spread my wings, face what my journey brings.
And seeing her effectively achieve that while singing a song that's about a similar topic is pretty nice. And the song itself is pretty smooth, it sounds pretty decent. And overall, it's just a very solid song.
He's the boldest, bravest bunny of all time.
The Boldest, Bravest Bunny of All Time is a superhero theme song written for Clover when he pretends to be a hero for a bunch of hoodwinks in an episode called Hero for the Hoodwinks.
To me, he can do no wrong, which is why I wrote this song.
Would you believe it, Statler? They're heroes. Now they're gonna be obnoxious.
So what else is new?
The song itself is just decent, but I do like the style that they're going for here, with the fact that the music is a jazz theme that's inspired from the same time period as the golden age of comics.
If you got yourself a problem, he's the rabbit you should call.
And a lot of the visuals here, too, are very superhero-inspired. A couple knight references thrown in, because, of course, it is a fantasy world. So that would be Clover's idea of a hero. And I especially love the Charlie Chaplin reference. Very easy to miss there, but that's a nice little touch there that you definitely would not expect. But yeah, this would be a pretty charming song overall in the show with a lot of style and personality, though it's just decent at the end of the day.
Come to Mystic Meadows, where the wizards get Mystic Meadows.
Mystic Meadows, the song from the episode of the same name, may as well just be an advertisement from Sofia to any elderly wizards about where to retire, because that's effectively the whole song, is Sofia singing about how great this place is for old wizards to go to retire.
No matter what you've been told, yeah, at Mystic Meadows, the magic never grows old.
Not exactly sure why she's singing about how great this place is when she's never been here and she's not really trying to convince anyone.
I have the power of positive thinking. True, it doesn't really help me in this instance.
But okay, I mean, the background tune is decently catchy. There's some nice little visuals thrown in, and I like the couple moments where Goodwin the Great is throwing shade at Cedric, thinking that he's not good enough to retire there in the future.
But since only the best come here for their rest, I wouldn't start planning your stay.
Poor Cedric. But yeah, just a decently charming song, even if it is functionally an advertisement. It's at least a somewhat catchy advertisement.
I've got the magic touch.
Magic Touch is a song that Cedric's sister sings, specifically to dunk on him.
No, wait! I know an excellent spell that will unpack your bags!
But I know a better one.
It's got a somewhat decent flow to the lyrics and the music and everything, plus a pretty unique style to it. And it's nice to see the interaction between Cedric and his sister.
You might cause harm, set off alarms with faulty sorcery.
And how much they aren't exactly impressed by each other.
You're the reason for all of my woes.
But nothing about this song is particularly special in terms of being a song that I would actually, like, go out of my way to listen to or anything. Yeah, that's about everything interesting worth saying about this song. Moving on.
I feel so free. Ooh-wee.
I Feel So Free is a song that Crackle sings after she temporarily gets rid of her fire in the Leaf Song Festival episode. This episode has a lot of songs, if you haven't noticed, even if most of them are pretty short. This is like the premiere song of the episode, the only one that's not only a few seconds long. So naturally, because of that, it is somewhat better. Well, I mean, that doesn't guarantee it would be better. Obviously, if it sucked, it would be worse, but it's pretty decent. It does have a bit of a country-style vibe to it, which kind of, in a subjective sense, means it's going to lose points from me because, as I mentioned previously, I just don't really care for country-style music.
Sing high, high, high without making things fry. I can sing roll, roll, roll without ruining the show.
But the lyrics of the song are pretty good, and it does have a somewhat catchy feel to it. Crackle isn't my favorite singer of the show, though. Definitely amongst the weaker singing voices, but she's still mostly fine in this song. It's just decent, which is still good enough to put it above the other Leaf Song Festival songs.
'Cause I wanna be a good little witch.
Good Little Witch is the song from the episode The Little Witch, which is a surprisingly deep episode, actually, because it's about a character, Lucinda in this case, who's effectively born into a world where she is judged by everyone because she comes from a family of witches, and because they've already judged her to be evil, she basically just does bad things to play into that stereotype that they've made for her. But because of this, no one wants to be her friend.
Yes, I turned your clogs into frogs. And yes, I changed your flute to a newt.
That is, until Sofia talks to her and makes her realize that she doesn't just have to be what the world thinks she is, and that she can undo all the bad things she's done.
So if I were you, here's what I'd do. I'd fix all the bad things I'd done.
And that's the first step she needs to take if she actually wants people to like her. Now, of course, later on in the episode, she still struggles to make friends with one of Sofia's friends just due to the fact that she's so biased against her already, despite the fact that she undoes everything bad she does. But anyway, that's a story for another day. The song of this episode, though, is basically the key moment where she switches from evil to good and decides that she doesn't have to put her magic to use attacking people and making their lives worse, but rather can help them instead. But she has to prove that to everyone first.
Still, I'll turn them all back now. Yes, every spell I'll undo.
Making this one of the most story-involved songs I've covered so far on this list. And the song itself isn't anything particularly special, but the story implications are what make it pretty decent. Plus, the guitar riff in the background is pretty catchy, I will admit, and there are a couple pretty clever rhymes here and there. But yeah, it's just a decent song at the end of the day. One that fits very nicely into the story of its episode, though.
It's a recipe for adventure, cooking up inside of you.
A Recipe for Adventure is a cute little song that starts with Sofia's Aunt Tilly singing to her to inspire her to use her resourcefulness to overcome adversity and not give up hope.
You just need 2 cups of courage and a little pinch of pluck.
That leads to Sofia picking up the message, then singing the song back to her aunt to prove that she's learned a lesson.
'Cause I've got 2 cups of courage and a little pinch of pluck.
Also, I like the nice touch that Aunt Tilly pretends to lose hope to give Sofia the opportunity to prove with resourcefulness that she has learned a lesson and show her aunt that it isn't hopeless, even though she was obviously faking to get Sofia to do that. Anyway, it's a cute little bonding moment between these two characters, with a simple but solid lesson thrown on top as well.
Pick me! Pick me! Pick me!
Pick Me is an interesting song, as it's another example of a duet-duel in which Minimus and Sky are fighting over who Sofia should pick as her flying horse-like animal to travel around on her adventures with. And they both boast about their many abilities. It's definitely one of the more unique songs in this show since, well, there aren't a ton of duet-duel-esque songs. And there's also not very many songs that involve Minimus or Sky either. I mean, I'm just gonna say it now though, but Minimus definitely has the better case on why Sofia should pick him based on what he says in this song.
Then we beat them all when we won the crown, 'cause that's just how we fly. We're like arrows through the sky.
Sky is basically just like, I'm a unicorn.
Do I need to mention I'm a unicorn?
That's why you should pick me.
And I got a horn.
But yeah, anyway, the song has a decently catchy background music track, and the lyrics are pretty decent throughout, but there's nothing too terribly special about it overall. It's a pretty solid, good, but still kind of a little average song at the end of the day.
2 by 2.
2 by 2, it's a song that I didn't really used to like much in the past, but, you know, it's really grown on me, actually. Like, it kind of starts off with this somewhat silly vibe, you know, this, you know, I'm your twin, you're my twin, we stick together through thick and thin, you know, that bit, right? But then, as it goes along, it progressively gets, you know, more and more emotional.
Call my name and I'll find you.
You know, and it kind of hits you in the feels at some points, actually.
You and me and you.
And the background music is also in a similar category too, where it starts out a little bit more silly.
Silly, silly, silly.
Then as it goes along, these really emotional instruments kick in, backing up the strength of the moment really good too. And all this from an episode where James gets turned into a baby. The show can be weird sometimes, you know?
You're weird.
Yes, I am. What about you?
But yeah, while it's not one of my favorite songs in the show, I do appreciate the emotional vibe that it goes for, especially in the second half. And that makes it a pretty solid song to me.
On such a big day, a big day.
On Such a Big Day is the first song of the final episode of the show, and as such, it serves as a bit of an ensemble piece, in which all the main royal family members,
When we celebrate at the party tonight, the party tonight.
and a brief line from Cedric and Baileywick respectively,
In this tiara now they'll fit you to a T.
all contribute to the song.
On such a big day.
There are a couple moments where the lyrics are slightly forced,
When I stand in front of all those whom I care about, I wanna rise and shine, but still there is a little doubt.
but for the most part it flows decently nicely. And I think it's a good way to start the final episode. It really places a lot of emphasis on this being important, because it kinda is. And the fact that so many characters all participate in this single song really shows that they're going all out with the scope of this final episode. But at the same time, it's nothing too special as a song, so I can only put it so high, even though it does its part pretty well in setting up the final episode.
Royal prep, step by step, you'll gain wisdom and pep.
Royal Prep is the theme song / introduction song to the school that Sofia will be attending throughout the series. And I really, really like the main chorus of this song. I think it's really catchy.
At Royal prep, step by step, you'll gain wisdom and pep.
But the beginning of this song is very slow, and a lot of the one-off verses and lyrics are just kind of whatever.
Learn the art of manners, of royal protocol.
That's right.
And when to bow and curtsy for functions big and small.
So even though the main chorus is really strong, there's some other elements that do drag this song back a bit from being truly great. Plus, there's technically another version of this song that shows up much, much later in the show that I think is slightly better just because of the emotional weight behind it. But this is still a very solid song overall.
And don't forget our motto.
To which you'll be true.
Rule over others as you'd have them rule over you.
Mostly because that main chorus is so strong.
You gotta improvise.
Improvise is a song where Amber learns that bringing a bunch of gowns and dresses instead of a tent is not a good idea.
Not a great plan.
But of course, with the power of improvisation, she has brought everything she needs to make a tent with her in her TARDIS-esque bigger on the inside backpack, which is able to hold all of this amount of stuff. Anyway, this song is pretty catchy and I like the main chorus to it.
A little imagination goes a long, long way.
Plus the harmony with all the girls singing together sounds pretty nice too.
If you improvise, take what's around you, put it all together in a brand new way.
And it's got a good lesson to it in the form of, you know, using what you have access to overcome challenges when you don't have an easy solution. This song just works very nicely overall.
Down into narrow way go.
Merlin Cove is a very jazzy tour song sung by Sven, the original Sven, might I add, before Frozen came out, as he introduces Sofia to the wonders of this underwater realm. And as I mentioned, the jazzy music is pretty catchy to listen to.
Everybody's off the hook.
And the lyrics pretty smoothly incorporate many of the sights to see without feeling awkward or forced into the song.
Won't you stay just for the day and I'll show you inside?
However, due to the kind of specific nature of the song being, about a fictional location in a specific universe, it makes it not as interesting to listen to on its own outside of the context of the episode that it comes from. So even though it's a really solid song, it's not a song that I go back to listen to on its own very often. But yeah, otherwise it does everything pretty decently well.
These are the genie rules, so don't you lose control.
The Genie Rules is a pretty bopping, smooth song by Sergeant Fizz, the captain of the Genie Patrol, who is on the mission, along with Sofia, to apprehend a young genie who is breaking the titular Genie Rules. The background music has a nice, unique, catchy, Middle Eastern-inspired hip-hop kind of vibe to it.
Just follow every one of my genie rules,
which helps it to stand out a lot. There's also a pretty neat rap section in the middle of this song.
This is how we're gonna track the genie down. We'll hop my magic carpet and fly around town. We'll be ace detectives, follow every clue, looking out for anything too good to be true.
And I like the little interaction where Sofia's surprised that there's 200 Genie Rules, and then Fizz is like,
well, technically, there's 204.
Which is a nice little charming moment right there between the two characters. Plus, a lot of the genie magic visuals, especially in the first half of the song, are pretty creative and interesting to watch, which also helps to add a bit of visual interest to the song as well. Overall, a very solid and unique song.
I'm living it up in the royal style.
Living It Up is a song that effectively has two different parts to it. There's the part that fake Clover, the imposter, is singing as he has effectively taken over Clover's life and is living it up because he's never had it that good before.
Living it up, think I'll stay a while. Living it up, oh yeah, I'm living it up.
That's nice.
And then there's the real Clover's part of the story, where he's singing about how he's not living it up and has to go through all these struggles in order to get back to the castle on his own because he was accidentally abandoned by Sofia.
I'm not living it up, been hopping for miles, not living it up, really cramping my style.
You poor, ugly thing, you.
And I think it's interesting how they contrast these two perspectives and swap between them during the song, which is the main highlight for me. The lyrics are just alright and the background music's just decent, but the unique nature of the song and the lesson in humility and appreciating what he has that Clover has to go through in both this song and the episode in general, I think is quite nice. So yeah, a pretty solid song overall in my opinion, but it's not like super good or anything. Wessalia, the main song of the first Christmas episode of Sofia the First, and the superior of the two songs in this episode, the other one being Peace and Joy that we talked about earlier in the list. Everything about this song just flows so smoothly.
'Cause the family that I hold so dear will be so very near.
All the lyrics are really nice, and it has a really great Christmassy kind of feel to it. It's, hard to explain why or how. I'm sure some musical expert knows. And it's a good way to sort of introduce the way that the Christmas season works in this fantasy world, since obviously they can't call it Christmas due to the fact that that comes specifically from Jesus and Christianity, which, as far as we know, isn't technically a part of this universe. Anyway, this is a very nice song that's quite strong and one that I would definitely consider listening to around the holiday time. Don't really have much else to say other than that, though. All You Desire is a song that Miss Nettle sings while she's disguised as Sasha the Sorceress, trying to trick the royal family into letting down their guard by charming and bribing them with stuff. giving them all they desire. Anyway, the actual lyrics of the song are pretty smooth and catchy, and the background music for the song is a nice bossa nova style piece.
What you want, what you need, satisfaction is guaranteed.
That really matches with the mood of the song and the intentions of Miss Nettle and her smooth, fake, charming attitude. Also that little bit where she causes some magic water to fly up towards Cedric, encircling him, and he's like infatuated with her because apparently he thinks she's like super attractive or something in this episode.
Ask for Sasha and by gosh, you get all you desire.
Well, you know, until he finds out who she actually is. Then he ends up being one of the few people in this episode who's actually able to do anything about stopping her. Anyway, very solid song here.
Tilly, oh Tilly, you're so unique.
Tilly, oh Tilly is a song that isn't sung by Sir Bartleby, but rather is sung by Sir Maxwell, while Sir Bartleby pretends to sing it.
I hope I'm not too bold, but I'd be one lucky fella if we took a stroll beneath your own umbrella.
Because he's too afraid to speak with his actual voice because it sounds like this.
Trust me, Princess Sophia, this is a great plan.
The song in question, though, is a song where he expresses his romantic feelings for Sophia's Aunt Tilly.
You make the silence nice. Want to speak.
And honestly, it's a really cute and charming song. Very wholesome, even if there was a little bit of deception involved. Which isn't gonna really work out in terms of, you know, long-term relationships. Which is why, of course, at the end of the song, it ends a little bit abruptly, and not so well for Sir Bartleby as his deception is exposed.
I'm on a quest, and it's you that I seek. Oh, hello. Move along.
Nothing to see here.
But the song itself is still very cute and even kind of catchy in some ways. And I like it, so, you know, that's why it's in the good category of songs. Let's move on already.
A little bit of food is all that we seek.
A Little Bit of Food is effectively the introduction song for Clover and the other animal characters who interact with Sophia on a frequent basis, as they offer their help to her in chores and such, as long as she gives them some food.
It really isn't much. Not too much for us to ask after helping you daily with each little task.
And it's a charming little song that has a pretty catchy melody to it and cleverly written rhyming lyrics.
Did you really think, after all these years, when we did your chores, we were volunteers?
It serves its job very well in introducing us to these characters and leaving a good first impression. Even if it isn't one of the standout best songs of the show, it doesn't do anything badly. It achieves everything it set out to do quite well.
When I'm hopping out with you.
Hoppin' Out With You is a pretty short but surprisingly catchy song. I like that it doesn't overstay its welcome. This is a perfect example of the songwriters realizing there wasn't really anything more they could do with this song, so they just let it be short and simple, which is sometimes better than trying to force the song to be a more standard, longer length. So I appreciate that here. And anyway, the song itself is just Clover singing about how happy he is that Sophia is willing to let him stay in her room while his home is kind of messed up.
You make me wanna sing all day long, hippin' and a hoppin' to my favorite song.
Which does lead to some not so great consequences later on in the episode, mostly because Clover tries to turn the place into his own home. But yeah, the song just has such an infectious energy to it that I feel like you'd be hard-pressed to not like it, even though it is very short and simple.
Me and my mom.
Me and My Mom is a surprisingly emotional song, even if it's based on a misconception that Sophia has. Like, this song does such a good job of making you feel bad for Sophia.
I love her more than anyone. Our days were always so much fun. Are those good times really done?
She feels that she'll be loved less just because she has siblings now, and her mom has to spend time with them as well. And I think this perspective only works because of the fact that her siblings came suddenly into her life when her mother remarried, rather than just being like a sibling who was born later, for example.
Then came a time when our family grew by 3, and it wouldn't only be me and my mom.
Since for all her life, until that moment, she was an only child. So you could say from a certain perspective she's being a little bit entitled here. But she does learn her lesson by the end of the episode. And like I said, this song does such a good job making us actually feel for her connection to her mother and why she's afraid of losing that, even if she is just being paranoid, that it's easy to almost forget that she is being paranoid.
I thought we had a bond no one could sever, but now I see that nothing lasts forever.
But yeah, a very strong song overall. That's a surprisingly emotional one that you wouldn't expect in this episode. I mean, it's the same episode where Baileywick gets turned into a frog after all.
I swallowed a fly. I don't know why I swallowed a fly.
Yes, we are living in strange times.
But yeah, anyway, next.
Can be the ride of your lives.
The Ride of Our Lives is a case of a song that's not very good for, like, especially the first third.
To tame a wild carpet, leave your fear down on the floor.
And even the second third, which is slightly better than the first third, but not that great.
We gotta hold on to the tassels and reach up for the sky.
But then suddenly, the last third of the song just skyrockets in quality.
We're riding the wind up to the clouds and flying high and fast.
Like, I mean, we go from talking about taming wild carpets, like, who cares, right? And then suddenly, it's this beautiful, epic harmony at the end that's good enough to give me goosebumps. Like, I'm telling you, this song would be C tier if the ending wasn't so strong that I had to bump it all the way up to here. I do think they probably could have done something a little bit more connected to Jasmin as a character for her cameo song here, other than talking about magic carpets, which she doesn't even really have much of a connection to in, like, any of the Aladdin movies, like, not even in the sequels. Like, the carpet has more to do with Aladdin than Jasmin, but whatever. Anyway, this is an interesting song because of that, like, polarity between the C-tier mediocre start and the almost S-tier ending. So just had to average out the quality and boom, you have it right here on the list. Anyway, next.
We could have been true sisters.
True Sisters is effectively the show's first emotional song, as Sofia encounters her first Disney princess cameo in the form of Cinderella.
You suddenly feel that all is lost, frightened and alone.
Who tells her that she should make up her differences with Amber and not let their relationship be soured for all time going forward.
Only make amends.
Unlike her relationship with her sisters.
If only we had tried to see a way to start anew.
Except wait, I thought she did make up with Anastasia at the end of Cinderella 2 and in Cinderella 3 as well. We'll just say that this Cinderella was pulled from her timeline during somewhere in the middle of the events of Cinderella 2 before the Anastasia story, I guess, or something. Because, I mean, Disney wouldn't retcon the masterpiece known as Cinderella 3, would they? Right, Disney? Anyway, the song is pretty solid, and it is kind of interesting to think back on a time when, during exclusively the first episode, which is more of a special because it's extended length, Amber was antagonistic towards Sofia rather than working with her like throughout the rest of the show. But yeah, anyway, solid song.
Then you can feel the magic, or the magic in the music.
Magic in the Music is a nice little song sung by a creep with no musical talent who steals his music magic from people who actually have talent. In a not exactly particularly good episode of the show, but this song is actually pretty good. Not only does it have nice string music for its background, but the lyrics are very smooth and soothing. Although the opening is a little bit slow, with a couple forced lyrics here and there, but not enough for it to actually be any sort of notable problem.
You all could learn to play magical music. Strike up a spell any time that you choose it.
And because of how nice the main chorus sounds, it makes up for that.
Oh, I can feel the magic. The magic in the music.
And the evil music magician guy here has a pretty nice singing voice, even if it only sounds nice because he stole it from someone else or whatever. Anyway, pretty solid. I guess this would count as a villain song, technically, even though it, isn't really villainous. Yeah, very nice.
So you can see how to make magic like Merlin.
Magic Like Merlin is a catchy little tune that plays when Sofia, Cedric, and his niece first visit Merlin. There's some neat visuals from Merlin's magic, of course, and it is fun to see Cedric geeking out over how great he thinks Merlin is.
Merlin's the mage with the magic mojo. Messing with him is a tragic no-no.
The main beat and tune is pretty catchy throughout, too, and the main verse is very memorable and will definitely stick in your head.
And I'll teach you how to make magic like Merlin.
Yes, please.
Like, this song just has a certain swagger to it that I like, and it's certainly befitting enough for such an iconic character as Merlin, aka the one soul-saving grace of The Sword and the Stone, which is otherwise a not very good movie at all. Like, this wizard is mad carrying that thing on his back. Anyway, moving on.
My power will be crystal clear.
My power will be crystal clear. No, not like My Power. That's the name of the song, which is the villain song of Prisma, who is like probably the worst villain in this entire show in terms of writing quality. But I'd be lying if I said her song wasn't good.
'Cause I'll soon be known throughout the land. My crystal's finally in demand.
The beginning is a bit backstory-esque, I admit.
Back when we were just little crystal kids, my sister was always the star.
But I really like the pop-style background music for this song.
I felt so left out, how much it hurt when I was just simply dismissed. But those days are over now.
And the second half is really good in my opinion. Like, I really like this line.
And if some creatures lose their charms, that's just the way it goes. So let's get on with the show.
Which is both simultaneously funny and just sounds really nice in the song too for some reason. Easily my favorite part of the song. And just like the style of this song is really different from any other song in the show too, so it's pretty memorable in that sense. The low-key nature of it ironically makes it a little bit more menacing than some of the other villain songs, even though the villain it plays for is like a total dweeb. But anyway, I've basically said everything there is to say about this song, so let's get on with the show!
Sisters and brothers.
Sisters and Brothers is a song that would easily make it to A tier on this list if it weren't for the fact that for some reason only half of the song is played in the actual episode rather than the full version, which you can find, for example, on Spotify. Just compare the version from the episode to the Spotify version, and you'll see that the song is literally half as long in the actual episode it plays in. And this song is bad by no means. It's catchy, it's clever, it's relatable.
They'll make you chase them up and down, but they're great to be around.
Like, everything about it is great, but because I guess for some reason they didn't want to include additional animation of Sofia and Amber running around chasing baby James, which I guess is kind of understandable to be fair, they ended up cutting half the song from the episode, which is kind of a shame, and like, that's technically what I'm basing this ranking off of, not the soundtrack version, since, you know, most of the songs in this show technically haven't even gotten official soundtrack releases anyway. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that this song loses a tier position just because it got cut so short in the actual episode, despite doing literally nothing wrong and pretty much being great in every category. But yeah, can't justify putting it up in A tier based on only the version from the actual episode.
You gotta live it to learn it.
Live It to Learn It. A song sung by Professor Peculian. a character who I believe only appears in this one episode. The song is about how some things you can't learn the same way without experiencing them for yourself.
If you want to grow a beautiful flower, dig into the dirt like a gnome or an elf. Can't tell if a fruit will be sweet or sour, till you take a bite and find out for yourself.
Which I think is a really good lesson that you don't see terribly often, actually. And the song in question is pretty catchy and memorable, as well as even a bit inspirational.
You gotta live it to learn it. You gotta dive in and do it. You gotta show that you know it. Just work your way through it.
It really makes you want to go out and genuinely learn stuff for yourself through experience. Plus, there's plenty of creative visuals on screen as he's explaining how you can go out and learn things. Very solid addition to the list of songs in this show, in my opinion.
We do princess things,
and we do princely things.
Princess Things is the first song of the first standard episode of the show, as in not the pilot movie / technically first episode special. It's the first episode that's 20 minutes is what I mean. It's a good thing that the first song here, for the first standard televised episode, is a pretty strong one. The main beat and tune is very catchy in this song.
There are many things princesses do, like hosting balls and dancing too.
And the rhymes and lyrics on both the princess side and the princess side of the song are catchy, memorable, and well thought out.
Suits of armor with lots of spikes, that's what we really like.
Plus, I like that this song, and like the episode in general, doesn't make it a point that it's like expressly forbidden, that girls can't do such and such, or in a sense guys couldn't do such and such, I guess, you know, in a vice versa kind of way. But rather that it's just discouraged.
We do princess things,
and we do princely things,
and no one crosses in between. We stick with our routine.
Right? It's a kind of societal expectations kind of thing. And I think it's really interesting that so early on in the show, they have Sofia put in this position of defying sort of society expectations, but not in like a cringe girl power kind of way, but just in a genuine, authentic personality kind of way. It's why this works and other things don't, if you know what I mean, that try to go for something kind of similar. You have to handle these kind of topics with a certain amount of maturity and intelligence.
You need people of intelligence on this sort of mission.
Or else you'll just end up insulting everybody. But thankfully this show manages to get that right, while also making a catchy song out of it too. So, thumbs up from me. And, well, what do you know? The very next spot on this list is Anything. The next song from the same exact episode I was just talking about. I promise, I didn't intentionally do that. It just so happens that I like this one exactly slightly more than the previous one from the same episode. In a sense, I think that this song, Anything, probably has stronger lyrics and better background music and pacing and everything except maybe catchiness, although it is pretty catchy too.
But the only way to win is to try and try again.
It does suffer one minor negative, which is the fact that the whole song is about how you can do anything.
I can reach anything, I can do anything.
Which isn't inherently a bad message, but like some people might end up taking that too seriously maybe. I mean, this is a kid's show after all, so you gotta remember how kids might see some of these things. And the fact of the matter is, you can't just straight up do anything. There are limitations to human beings after all, especially human beings who are not in very good circumstances in their lives.
Wow. Only a true friend would be that truly honest.
But I get it, it's just trying to be an inspirational song, and that's why I'm not docking very many points at all from it. Also, I realize this is another case where the TV version is slightly shorter than the soundtrack version, but I feel like it's not affected as badly as the Brothers and Sisters song was, for example. Even if I was ranking the full version of this from the soundtrack, it wouldn't have really improved its position, unlike the other song. Just FYI. Anyway, this is still a pretty solid song. The Golden Wings Circus is basically an actually good and effective version of what the Tri-Kingdom Picnic song was supposed to be. You know, a song that really makes a big showcase out of some big event, where the lyrics are about how great and special it is.
They're full of mystical, unusual things, like magical penguins, a tiger that sings.
Whereas unlike that song, this one's actually catchy. Although, oddly enough, I think the opening verse of the song is probably the best part.
You know it's coming when the wagons appear. That crazy calliope catches your ear.
That part has the best background music, the best lyrics, and the cleverest rhymes. Like, the main chorus is pretty good.
It's the Golden Winged Circus, the grandest circus of all.
But that opening is like extra good. Like for a second I was like, this sounds like an A-tier song to me. Then as it goes along I'm like, probably more of a B+, but it's still very good. Like, just that opening is something special though. Also I like the fun detail of Sofia constantly failing to twirl the twig around. Alas, third time wasn't even the charm for her.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Believe in Your Dream is a very solid inspirational song in this show. I mean, it's just such a nice theme for a song, you know, to believe in your dream and not give up hope.
Well, a dream is a promise that you make to yourself.
The motivation that Sofia gives by saying that she believes in Gwyn and that she can achieve this, even if she doesn't believe in herself.
Believe in your dream like I believe in you.
And the background piano is a really nice piece of music to go along with the inspirational lyrics of the song.
Let your dream light your way.
Although I will say, there is another inspirational song in this show that is significantly better than this one. So, for as good as this song is, it isn't the go-to inspirational song for me from this show. Also, it's kind of weird to me that Gwyn never shows up again after this episode. Well, except maybe like an extremely brief cameo where she doesn't say something in maybe one other episode. Kind of an underused character. Wish we got to see more of her, but, you know, oh well, to that. Guess her dreams didn't take her very far.
At Royal Prep, step by step, we gained wisdom and pep.
Royal Prep Reprise. This being the version of the Royal Prep song that I was referring to earlier that is better. Yes, it's shorter, but it doesn't have the long drawn-out intro of the first one, and it replaces the catchiness with an emotional aspect.
We're royal all the way, at good old RPA.
Since this version plays in the finale of the show, and I like how it ties it back to that first episode by having one of its songs be reprised, but this time, it's not sung by the three fairies who intend to teach Sofia and the other students, it's sung by the students about how much they've learned.
Every task, every test, we gave it our best, and they did the rest, you see.
Which is a perfect way to close out the show. Not that this is like the literal final song, but like in terms of all these characters and how much they've grown since we first saw them in their respective episodes. And it's just pulled off so well that I have to give it that boost over the original version.
Give the kid one more chance.
Give the kid one more chance. This is an inspired song. Not only does it have some great themes of second chances and trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, even in hard times, but I love the style of the music.
You're not just a gumshoe stuck in an old dance. You've learned a new step.
I'll give the kid one more chance.
Which fits with the style of the episode in general, in which Sofia and Sergeant Fizz are investigating a crime in which Kazim, the young genie, was framed for doing it, even though he was innocent.
Our genie patrolman has very tough views. We stick to facts only, we just follow the clues.
And so, inspiration is taken from noir-style detective movies, and because of the time period that most of those movies came out in, the song here uses a jazzy big band style.
Don't give up on your friends, Sergeant. You are the genie dream team.
Which both sounds really nice, and like I said, it's an inspired and unique choice. Overall, it's just a really nice song to listen to for all these various reasons. A fantastic addition to the Sofia the First library of songs, in my humble opinion.
I like you so much, it makes me wanna hop.
I Like You So Much is a song that Clover sings while he's high on love berries. This is a real thing that happens.
I like you so much, I want you close to me. You make me wanna write bad poetry.
Well, now I've seen everything.
It's kind of funny to watch as, at first, Crackle likes the idea that Clover is infatuated with her, but as the song progresses, she starts to realize that this isn't just love, it's obsession.
When I close my eyes, all I see is you.
And that these love berries may not actually be working out so well for her. So I think it's kind of fun with the visuals there to see that progression take place. Plus the song itself, while not inherently particularly special, I would say, it's just really well written. Like, the lyrics flow super smoothly.
Wanna hold you tight and be a little buck-tooth furry night. That's right.
Like, in a sense, the pacing of this song is really solid, that I feel like I'd be doing it dirty to put it lower than A tier, even if it's not a song that I like so much in that sense. It is just a really, really solid song that's very nice to listen to, and is exceptionally well put together, so I have to give it credit for that.
Beware, this Fleagle has landed.
This Fleagle Has Landed is a song that has no business going as hard as it does, considering it's the theme song for a character who appears exclusively in one episode and is not even a particularly notable or even that memorable character. In fact, her theme song here,
Like it or not, I'm here to stay, so you better do everything I say, or there's gonna be a hefty price to pay, because this Fleagle has landed.
is probably the most memorable thing about her, because, I mean, it low-key kind of slaps, I ain't gonna lie. It's jazzy, pretty catchy, the lyric rhymes are really good. Like, it almost makes you want to get up and dance a little bit. It's just a shockingly good song that comes out of nowhere, but hey, I gotta give it credit for actually being this good, surprisingly.
So let's get wicked. Let's do some bad today.
Get Wicked is a deliciously evil and menacing villain song for Vor, the final villain of the last episode of the series. And by the way, I've always liked Vor's design because it kind of invokes the evil queen from Snow White, who's like the OG Disney villain. And I like how in her song here, she's basically just saying that, unlike the other villains, she isn't going to hold anything back because she's ambitious and will do whatever it takes to actually achieve her desires.
Being vicious and suspicious is deliciously great.
Making this certainly the most effective villain song in terms of a villain really asserting themselves as a threat. I will admit though that the beginning of this song is a little sing-talky as Vor is explaining how she got here.
But then those pesky protectors caught up to me.
Which isn't entirely necessary, but I do really like the main chorus of the song. So as soon as it picks up, it does get really good. And like I said, because of its effectiveness, I have to rate it pretty highly. Like, I just love the way that she says,
The point that we're making is when you get wicked, the world is yours for the taking.
I think it just works so well at establishing her threat near the start of this final episode, so that we know things are going to be serious this time.
I wanna be an expert.
Expert is a very random, but highly entertaining song. It is sung by the one-off character, Professor Zacharias Fleeber, who is the world's foremost expert on Celians, except that he's never seen one. And so, he expresses in this song his desire and frustration at wishing to be an expert.
I wanna be a pro, learn all there is to know. I wanna be an expert.
In that, he doesn't just want to be called the world's foremost expert on Celians, despite not knowing anything. He wants to actually know things. Very admirable of him. But anyway, this song has some pretty catchy lyrics, and is a very bouncy song to listen to, which is why I suppose they also animated Zacharias Fleeber so bouncily in the song itself. Like, he's very entertaining to watch on screen with his movements.
Don't wanna be the guy pretending to know why. I wanna be an expert.
Almost makes you want to get up and bounce to the song with him. But yeah, I really like this song. It's pretty charming and decently catchy. And it inspires us all to learn more about things we claim to be experts on. Because there's definitely a lot of people out there who think they're experts on things that they're not.
It's not easy being an expert on something you know nothing about.
What is this feeling I'm feeling in me?
This feeling I'm feeling in me is one of this show's best emotional songs, playing a key part in the redemption arc of Princess Ivy, who Sofia, in the episode in question, Ivy's true colors, has to redeem her or else she can't get back to her home because she was brought here by the amulet by force. Which is a very interesting plot for an episode, by the way. One of this show's best, actually. But yeah, this song in question, though, is really effective in its emotions.
If you care for your friend, won't you please let some color inside? At least, won't you try?
Like, if the opening verse by Princess Ivy doesn't give you goosebumps, then you're probably incapable of feeling emotions.
What is this ache inside of me? Everything is reeling through these misty eyes I just can't see.
Especially so if the song doesn't provoke any sort of emotional response in you by the end. Like, this song is a genuine tearjerker. Not that it actually made me cry, but it gets close. And I like that it shows that even people who seem cold and heartless can still have feelings for people, even if they don't want to show that. But it's better for them and everyone else if they just open up and show how they really feel, even if that makes them vulnerable in a sense.
I like this feeling I'm feeling. I know the feeling you're speaking of. The feeling that you're feeling is love.
Overall, just a really fantastic emotional song.
The Sorcerer's Secret.
The Sorcerer's Secret is a song that I talked about for a little bit in my Cedric video, because I was explaining why it's kind of important for his character arc, and why, even though he fails all the time over and over again to get Sofia's amulet, he keeps trying anyway. Because the whole point of this song, which he himself sings, is that you can't give up the fight and you have to keep trying over and over again until you finally get it right.
The Sorcerer's Secret is never giving up the fight. You must keep trying till you finally get it right.
Which is a good lesson about patience and persistence, as well as tying nicely into Cedric's character arc. The song itself is also a jazzy bop, at least when it's actually playing.
Learning magic can be tricky and occasionally sticky, so don't you ever forget the Sorcerer's Secret.
There's a lengthy section in the middle where the song isn't playing, just a bit of the background music underneath the scene of the characters trying to undo the magic from the pranksters.
Disappear out.
That's it.
But it's still relevant to the overall theme of what the song is about, so I can't fault it that much, even though it's a bit of an interruption in the middle of the actual song, which is one of the only things holding this song back slightly. Obviously not that much though, because I value the positives a lot more than a slight interruption in the middle, or else it wouldn't be this high, obviously. But yeah, a good song for various different reasons. Just wish it didn't have an interruption in the middle. Huzzah, huzzah is the main theme of Royal Prep, like, in-universe. I know there's a song literally called Royal Prep that we already talked about, twice even, but that isn't technically the theme of the school itself. That would be this song, Huzzah, huzzah.
Huzzah, huzzah for Royal Prep. Yes, we're loyal through and through.
Which is sung in the episode The Flying Crown, near the start when Sofia and James win the race. And I like how everyone is happy about it, except Hugo, because he isn't involved. And he feels as though his place has been taken by Sofia, since she beat him earlier in the series when she first joined the Flying Derby. So I think there's a nice visual contrast there, where everyone, including Hugo's own father, is participating, but not him, showing how he's not really much of a team player, even though the song even mentions how they have to work as a team, which is obviously intentional to the theme of the episode. But it still fits nicely just with, you know, a theme song for a school in general, especially one that would be sung at sports events and such. Anyway, the song itself just is a really nice sounding, very patriotic-esque theme song anthem type thing.
Well, this is getting a little awkward.
Let's just go to the next spot already.
Gotta reach a higher height, shine brighter than starlight.
Gotta Reach a Higher Height is definitely a pretty relatable song that teaches a very important lesson in it.
Now we have to keep up that pace. There's no room for second place.
Well, at least Sofia's perspective on the problem that Kari is singing about.
You don't need to be number one, as long as you have lots of fun.
Anyway, the song is specifically about Kari believing that she basically has to be perfect at stuff because of the expectations of her family, due to the fact that her mother was a perfect ballet dancer. But she isn't, is the problem. But she thinks that she has to be perfect like her mother, or else she isn't good enough, and isn't living up to what people expect of her.
I'm not used to falling down, gotta be perfect all around.
But, you know, as is the entire point basically of my Azula analysis video,
almost isn't good enough.
perfectionism can ultimately end up being a disease if you take it too far, since no one can truly be perfect at anything. You have to accept that you won't always be the best, and that's really the only solution, which is what Sofia tries to tell Kari. But by the end of the song, she hasn't quite learned her lesson because she does manage to get the twirl right once, and thinks that she's on the right track to proving she's just as good as her mom. Of course, she does learn her lesson by the end of the episode, but still. The song itself also sounds pretty nice.
Gotta reach a higher height, shine brighter than starlight. I've got no choice, I've gotta get it right.
Although for once I'm not exactly sure how to describe why it sounds nice. It just sounds nice. What? There's 137 songs to talk about in this show. I'm not a music professor. There's only so much I can say. I'm not perfect after all. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's get back to practice.
Gotta Have Fun is a song that will make you miss your childhood. Or, if you're still a child, then it will make you dread the day you grow up.
Let's go do the things we've always wanted to. Skate on down the hallways in our wheelie shoes.
Since it's all about how you have to have fun while you're still young, before the dread of adulthood and responsibilities.
Out into the cold, grown-up world, alone.
And honestly, I appreciate the theme of this song just because of the fact that, I mean, it really is so true.
When you get busy, it's so easy to forget that you've gotta have fun, yeah. You've gotta have fun.
The vast majority of people, as soon as they get older, just don't have time to have fun the same way they were able to when they were younger. And if you do still have plenty of time to have fun, then you are one lucky bug. The melody of the song is also really nice and very catchy. I mean, pretty much all the songs at this point onwards on the list are going to be pretty catchy. Either that or they're like emotional or something. Yeah, it might be a bit redundant to say this song is catchy because I'll just end up saying that for like every song going forward. But anyway, great theme and nice to listen to. So it's a good one. This Island Belongs to Us is a catchy song duel between the Dragon Boy Band and the Sea Monster Girl Band, who both think that this island belongs to them.
If you know what's good for you now, you won't make any fuss. Go take a final bow, 'cause this island belongs to us.
Both sides have nice harmony and catchy lyrics for the part of the song.
Rock's our home, so get off our porch. We belong right here, the eternal torch. All your little plans, we're about to scorch.
And honestly, it's a pretty even duel. Outside the fact that the dragons were here to start, the only real nitpick I could throw out is the bit where the sea monster leader says bona fide, and then like one of the other sea monsters is like,
My claim to this rock is a bona fide.
That means it's real.
which is a slightly awkward addition, but it's nowhere near bad enough to take away from the greatness of the rest of this song, which is just a real boogie to listen to. that sounded kind of stupid. I'm not sure why I said that. Anyway, let's just move on. Oh yeah, there's also a very brief reprise of the song at the end, but it's not as good as the first version, so there's really not much to add about that.
Somebody who always knows it all.
Know It All is a song with a really interesting and unique message to it that I don't know if I've seen anywhere else that I can even think of off the top of my head, which, you know, I mean, the title kind of is self-explanatory, but it's about being a know-it-all, as Hildegard explains in song form.
But if I don't know what to say, I act like I know anyway.
Why she thinks that she has to be a know-it-all in order for people to like her.
If I was gonna make new friends, I'd have to know it all.
And then Sofia, in response, tells her that she likes her better when she's being honest and humble than when she was just making stuff up and pretending to know everything.
I like you more now that you've told me all this.
You do? Why?
Because I'm finally getting to know who you really are.
And I think that this is a really important message for people to learn. And not just kids, but, you know, even some adults in real life who think that ignorance is bliss, if you know what I mean. That it's better to admit that you don't know everything, or that maybe you need to research something or look into it, than to stubbornly pretend like you do know everything just because you think it makes you or your position look better. The song has a good emotional vibe to it, and the main chorus is decently catchy too as well, despite being a more emotional song. Not in like a bouncy, kind of fun, catchy way, but like the sense that the lyrics flow really nicely into each other, and the rhymes are good, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Anyway, good song, moving on.
To uphold the spirit of Avalor, with a song inside their hearts.
The Spirit of Avalor is a lovely little song in Elena in The Secret of Avalor. I can't believe I'm already running out of adjectives so that I have to use the word lovely. Anyway, this song is sung by the Jacquins as they're flying Sofia around on their way to someone who may be able to help Sofia free Elena from her amulet, as they explain along the way in song form.
All across the kingdom, the people are still strong, because the spirit of Avalor continues to live on.
In spite of the fact that singing and music has been banished from their land by the evil sorceress who's taken control, that the people will never forget and keep the song alive inside of their hearts, which is a nice message about faith, hope, and perseverance. Plus, the beat of the song is a pretty catchy samba-style tune.
They uphold the spirit of Avalor with the song inside their hearts.
Just making the whole thing come together very nicely.
You'll see what you can bring when you're being your own king.
Be Your Own King is a nice little song that plays in the episode King for a Day, which I accidentally called Prince for a Day in my Cedric video, which is redundant because James is already a prince, so what would it do him to be the same thing that he already is for a day anyway?
Stupid!
In this episode, King for a Day, James is made king for a day. However, near the start, he's uncertain of how to handle the kingly duties expected of him on this day. And because he clearly has ADHD or something, he just can't handle the work in a normal way. So Sofia encourages him to solve his problems in creative and uniquely him kind of ways.
Just get creative, be innovative.
Which I think is a pretty nice little message, plus it leads to some fun visuals with how he solves the problems. Since after all, there isn't always just one correct way to do things.
They'll see what I can bring if I can be my own king.
You gotta be your own king.
So I think it's important to let people know that you can solve problems in many different ways. Now, perhaps not exactly the ways that James solves his problems here, but...
Well, it is a cartoon, sir.
Also, I like the kind of medieval sounding instruments they play in the background here, like...
You'll soon get in the swing if you can be your own king.
I have no clue what this instrument is. I actually genuinely tried to look it up so I could sound smart, but it's just some sort of violin or fiddle or something, but I don't know. It sounds very medieval and I like it. That's all I have to say.
'Cause here in Elvenmore, we like to play all day.
Sofia in Elvenmore is an episode about procrastination. So naturally, the song of the episode, simply titled Elvenmore, is a song about how you should just have fun all day.
You'll find plenty to distract ya. It's a simple fact.
And it's a pretty catchy tune that stands out because the elf in question who's singing the song has a Scottish accent, which adds a lot of flavor and personality to the song compared to most of the rest of the songs in this show.
And no matter where you turn, there's fun in your way.
Plus, there's tons of creative visuals going on here, since this episode also takes a bit of inspiration from Alice in Wonderland. I mean, it's called Sofia in Elvenmoor after all. I think the ending could maybe be a little bit stronger than it is, but otherwise, the rest of the song is really great.
Old Dunwitty, dear Dunwitty.
The song from the episode Princess Jade is really interesting because it's kind of like 3 songs in one, actually. There's the Dunwitty Ditty, the theme song of the Dunwitty Village School Kids, a reprise of Huzzah Huzzah, sung by the Royal Prep Kids, and then a much more quiet, emotional, solo version of Dunwitty Ditty, sung from Jade's perspective and how she would feel so sad if she left her school, but she doesn't want to offend Sofia by not going with her to her school, even though ultimately it does turn out to be a bit of a misunderstanding by the end of the episode. But that's irrelevant to this song.
You told us to imagine, and we imagined your irrelevance.
And I like all 3 parts of the song. The weakest part's probably the basic Dunwitty Ditty opening section, but that's still decent for what it is.
Go Dunwitty, hail the green and brown.
The Huzzah Huzzah reprise is pretty much just as good as the original, and I like the visual when they're saying red, green, and blue, and they specifically have a character who wears an outfit of that color highlighted by those colors as they mention them.
Za, za, for royal crap, for the red and green and blue.
Which I think is a really clever visual there. But the best part is definitely Jade's more emotional solo at the end, which definitely does make you feel for her perspective in the fact that it can be very difficult to make hard choices like this, where it feels like no matter what you choose, you somehow lose either way.
I sure don't want to part, but I know if I stay, that would break Sofia's heart.
Overall, a really solid song. Or is it 3 songs? Either way, it's good.
I've got the summer camp blues, too many rocks in my shoes.
The Summer Camp Blues is another one of the show's most unique songs. It's definitely one of the funniest songs, since there's not a ton of songs designed primarily to be comedic, but this one essentially takes a sarcastic tone of James being slightly melodramatic about everything that has gone wrong to him over the summer while he's at camp.
My hiking pack weighs a ton, the campfire's hot as the sun, my s'mores got way overdone.
And the lyrics of this song are pretty clever, and will probably get a chuckle out of you.
Can't do one more activity, feels like I'm in captivity.
Plus, the main guitar riff in the background is pretty catchy too. And I especially love the visuals too of this song, which cut between James writing his letter, which also consists of several images displaying the horrors of summer camp, which gives this song a really unique visual style to it, since we get to see James's hyperbolic reimagining of all these events in the form of his drawings and the little animations that they do with them. I mean, it's just very creative, and I like it. Oh, and also the last line of the song, where James ends the letter and says,
Love, James.
Is really funny and the perfect way to end the song.
I am on your side.
Not only is I Am On Your Side a really great song on its own, but it is crucial to Cedric's character arc, as it takes place after he has chosen to betray the king in the past and lost the trust of Roland because of that. But here, Cedric is genuinely repentant of his previous actions and wants to restore his relationship because he's come to realize that his friends are more important than any power he could gain or respect from people who would have never liked him anyway.
I want your forgiveness for all that mess, but I want to prove that I deserve it more than less.
But regaining a trust that was lost is something very difficult to do, and that's the point of the song. That Cedric is genuinely willing to go to any length that King Roland requires to regain that trust, even if it's difficult for him to do.
I've said sorry again and again for my past wrongs and for the man I was back then.
Even if he requires him to do a million different things, he will bridge that divide that he made between them and undo what he did in the past. Oh, and speaking of bridging the divide, I like that he actually makes a bridge appear during the line where he says he'll bridge the Great Divide. Pretty clever visual connection there.
I lend a million hands, I'll bridge the Great Divide, jump through a million hoops until you're satisfied.
Yeah, this song, and just the whole episode it comes from in general, really do a great job of making you feel for Cedric. And it shows why forgiveness and reconciliation are such important things that we as people should strive for, even if it's hard to do.
It's the Ghostly Gala, an evening full of thrills.
Ghostly Gala is a jazzy song sung by Dax, explaining why he has to throw his ghost party on this specific Halloween night, and how Sofia's efforts to shoo him away are only going to do more harm than good.
And if I don't succeed, 'tis I that will be haunted until next century.
And the song itself is really catchy. Like I mentioned, it's a jazzy song, so obviously it's got jazz as its main music genre. Like there's some sweet saxophone in this song, accompanied by an excellent ragtime piano melody as well.
'Cause tonight's the night of the one and only Ghostly Gala.
And just all in all, it's a really solid song, and I don't really have any notes. Just great in all regards, basically. Though it isn't quite S tier, it is still amongst the upper echelon of Sofia the First songs.
That's our perfect slumber party, and that's the way it's always been.
The Perfect Slumber Party is the song that is very close to reaching S tier on my ranking. I mean, first of all, you've got a great theme here. The misconception. The idea that the elites of society have a certain way of doing things, and they look down on other people who do things differently from them. And because they're different, they reject them.
And running around with pine cones really isn't part of the deal.
But Sofia tries to advocate for her friends' positions.
'Cause at a perfect slumber party isn't fun the name of the game.
But when she sees that that is unpopular with the other girls, she ultimately succumbs to their position and comes to the conclusion that she has to convince her friends to change who they are to fit in, which is really interesting.
I've gotta help them fit in.
It's a rare example of a character at the end of a song coming to the wrong conclusion, and that they'll later have to fix that perspective in the episode. You know, I made a whole YouTube short about this episode actually. It's a pretty interesting episode. Anyway, the beginning of the song is especially excellent too, when it's Amber, Hildegard, and Cleo singing. Like, not only are the lyrics impeccably on point during this part, but the melody, the beat, the tune, everything is just so catchy. Like, it's a bumpin' song. Is bumping even a word? That's probably the stupidest thing I've said in this video yet.
Hey, Patrick, what am I now?
Stupid?
However, once it gets to Sofia's section where she's advocating for her friend's perspective, the quality does dip slightly. Not like it dips in the sense that it gets bad, but that it goes from being S tier down to like B+-ish, low A, maybe at best. And unfortunately that does hurt the song a little, because that's almost half the song in Sofia's section. So it not being that impeccable quality that the first part is definitely a knock against the song, and I can't lie and say otherwise. But it's still a really, really strong song overall, especially because of that impeccable first section by Amber and her friends.
Make some noise, make some noise, make some noise, make some noise.
While this show has quite a lot of pretty good jazzy songs, the absolute jazziest of them all has to be Make Some Noise. A song sung primarily by the Trolls, with a couple lyrics from Sofia as well. And I must say, this song is just insanely catchy.
When you can't find the words for your joy, make some noise, make some noise.
Plus, it's pretty relatable, because as someone with ADHD myself, sometimes I just get a feeling like I need to make some noise or something. Anyway, this is definitely one of the show's most likely songs to have you up and dancing in the room while it's playing. It's a real head bopper for sure. Also, I love the sections in the middle where Gnarly does a bit of scat singing as well too. You know, where you just make up some random noises instead of actually singing words.
Make some noise,
Make some noise.
Which really fits with the whole theme of the song too, of making noise, so that's a nice clever little addition too right there. Anyway, I think you get the gist at this point. Very solid, catchy song. One that definitely makes a cut for my repeat listens list.
Our wizards are the best.
Our Wizards Are the Best is a song where a bunch of animals bully Wormwood because he's Cedric's pet. And this is a problem because Cedric doesn't always get things right.
We feel so sad that your guy's so bad, the worst sorcerer a bird could ask for.
And really, the point of this song is the question of whether someone like Wormwood will break under societal pressure. Will he stay true to Cedric even in spite of his flaws? Or will he succumb to the embarrassment of being associated with him and ultimately leave to do his own thing? And the sad fact of the matter is in this show that Wormwood does ultimately fail. Like, he doesn't stay loyal to Cedric. He abandons him when Cedric starts to be good instead. So this song is actually a pivotal moment in Wormwood's downfall arc, you could call it, as it shows us exactly why he chooses to leave Cedric. Because he cares more about how people see him than he cares about his supposed friend. And I mean, it is kind of sad because when you hear this song, you do feel a little bit bad for Wormwood being bullied by these other animal companions. But you gotta admit, their song does kind of slap.
We don't say this in jest, you ought to feel impressed. In case you haven't guessed, our wizards are the best.
It's quite catchy, with some clever rhymes, and nice visuals contrasting Cedric with the other sorcerers. As these pets, even though they are bullies, are at least bringing evidence for their position, you gotta admit that. Overall, it's just a very unique villain song in general, and very important in the story of the show.
Now I can see that I must be a better me.
A Better Me is such a clever song. This being another one of the songs that I covered in my Cedric video, but it takes place during the episode Cedric Be Good, in which Cedric actually acquires Sofia's amulet. However, in order to get powers, he has to do good things.
I'll have a be nice binge, although it makes me cringe.
But because of his mindset of trying to be this big, intimidating villain, he keeps accidentally losing his powers by not being nice.
Get away from me, you bothersome birds! Shoo, shoo, shoo! Oh. Oh.
This episode is of course pivotal to his arc because it's central to him realizing that getting Sofia's amulet won't actually solve his problems. And it's really clever in the sense that if he just focused on doing good stuff, he wouldn't be losing his powers, but because his ultimate goal is not a good goal, he'll never be able to keep the powers that he gets. So it's a contradiction, effectively. He can either try to become the ultimate ruler of the kingdom, but never be able to get the powers to get there, or he can get the powers, but give up on his dream of ultimately becoming the ruler of the kingdom. Like at the very end of the episode, he has to ultimately give the amulet back to Sofia as the final good thing that he does in order to break the curses. So he effectively just ends up back at ground zero, but at least with a lesson learned. Though the song is quite catchy, and I like the juxtaposition of Cedric trying to be all devious, but also helping people at the same time.
I'll find someone whose luck has really gone sour, 'cause I've got to get a new power.
Also, this song is where I got the picture of Cedric for the thumbnail of the Cedric video, because he makes some great expressions during this song. Although I had to put this at the bottom of S tier, because even though I really, really like it, it does have a lengthy section in the middle where the song isn't going, and it's just kind of playing the basic beat and tune in the background to bridge the gap between the two main musical sections. And that always does slightly hurt my opinion of a song, because it means it's harder to go back and listen to it, because you have to skip past that part, or just listen to a certain section of the song over and over again and skip the other half. Of course, if you're just watching it in the context of the episode, it works perfectly fine. So I'm not talking that many points, but like I said, its re-listenability, that's a real word, I promise, is hurt by that fact. So I can only justify barely putting it in S tier. But I mean, that's not exactly an insult, is it?
So won't you make way for Miss Nettle?
Make Way for Miss Nettle is one of this series' most traditional sounding villain songs. And honestly, it's really, really good.
'Cause it was such a bore being fairy number 4.
I like that the song has like these points where the music sounds like it's a little bit mischievous.
It will be far more fun being fairy number 1.
That perfectly match with Miss Nettle's jealous personality. But then at other points, it also gets quite dramatic with the instrumentation, really emphasizing that she is also actually a threat. Oh, and side note, I really like Miss Nettle's design, by the way. Like, basically just doing something effectively the same as the Sleeping Beauty fairies, but with a different color scheme, and this time, she's a bad one. I mean, Maleficent is also technically an evil fairy, but her design is so different from the others. Anyway, speaking of Maleficent, Miss Nettle mentions her in this song, so, you know, nice little reference there.
I'll be as famous as Maleficent.
And that happens right before, like, probably the most notable thing about this song, too. Like, the longest song note hold, quite possibly of all time.
But 23 times more magnificent!
Very impressive. And then, like, right after that, it just does that dun, 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 dun. I just like that little build-up back to the main part of the song again. I don't know what else to say. It's just a really fantastic villain song.
That's how I'll get that amulet.
The Amulet song is another song that involves two different characters singing from two different perspectives. Except in this case, it's Sofia, whose amulet has been stolen by a griffin.
It's more than a necklace to me, for the magic within holds the key.
And Cedric, who's noticed that her amulet has been stolen by a griffin, both trying to get the amulet and singing about why it's so important to them to get it.
It's more than a necklace to me, for the magic within holds the key to swipe the crown.
So I really love the contrast between those two perspectives there. Additionally, the lyrics are pretty clever throughout the song, from both perspectives. And I like how smoothly it transitions between Sofia and Cedric's segments as well, too. I do think it's funny, though, that the song is just called the Amulet Song. Like, they didn't come up with any sort of other name, just the Amulet Song. Anyway, I've kind of run out of things to say. Very nice song. Let's go! For One and All is the last truly great song of the show, being the second to last song of the final episode, since, like I said, the final song is a little bit mediocre in my opinion. But this one is truly great, as Sofia sings about how they can't just run away.
Being royal means being loyal to those who count on us.
And they have to face the evil that's threatening to take over their land head on, even if they're the ones who have to take the fall.
I have to take a stand for one and all, even if I'm the one who takes the fall.
Which perfectly foreshadows the fact that Sofia almost gets permanently trapped within her own amulet because of her actions to go back and stop the villain. But I also love the way in which Sofia basically makes this big speech to everyone, which is a great moment, like, for being in the final episode to show the kind of person she's grown to be, that she's even able to inspire her own family.
We have to look out for our family, but our family is bigger than this. It includes everyone in the kingdom, every boy, girl, mister, and miss.
And I love the way that her family and Cedric and Baileywick, who I guess you could say are tangentially a part of the family too, ultimately take up her perspective and join in on the song. And I love the harmony of all the characters coming together and singing the main chorus at the end there.
We have to take a stand for one and all, even if we're the ones who take the fall.
Like, that's probably one of the most powerful moments of any song in this show. I Belong is a pretty great song that happens pretty early on in the show, while Sofia is still feeling a bit of imposter syndrome, in that because she didn't grow up as a princess and was effectively adopted into being one, she doesn't have any of the knowledge or societal expectations that people have of princesses in her mind.
What's inside should mean a whole lot more.
So so she doesn't necessarily act like a princess like the other princesses do. So here, she sings both about her internal struggles.
I've got the dress that makes me a princess, I guess.
And how she's going to prove to the others that whether or not you're a princess isn't determined by how you appear on the outside, and that she belongs all the same even if she's different and comes from a different kind of background.
But this is the day to make them all say that I fit in perfectly.
And I think it's very inspirational, and the type of thing that even if, you know, obviously, like, less than 1% of people in the audience are going to be princesses, probably less than a percent of a percent of a percent, if I'm being fully honest.
Life's not fair, is it?
You can replace the word princess with any sort of notable thing in society, and it would be very relatable to the majority of people who find themselves in situations where they unexpectedly feel like they have to fit in with some sort of group that puts pressure on them to be like a certain way when they shouldn't have to be like that, because acting in a specific way is not inherently what makes you a part of that group. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm probably over-explaining this at this point. The song itself is pretty nice too, as well as being relatable and a little bit emotional too. The lyrics flow very nicely, and the music is soft and soothing. All very nice stuff.
Bring my best friend back.
Bring My Best Friend Back is a very powerful song, especially considering it comes so early in the first season, in which Clover starts to regret his decision to leave Sofia and join a magic show, because the fame of being in a magic show is ultimately meaningless because he gave up his friendship with Sofia to earn it.
I wish that I could just disappear.
And seeing him so sad and regrettable over his decision really hits you in the feels, especially because Sofia is heartbroken and wishes to find him again and bring him back home. And just hearing her sing about how she'll not give up until she succeeds just honestly gives me goosebumps.
How long must I look till I find him? And what will he say when I do?
Plus, there's the usual positives, like the lyrics flow very smoothly, and the background music sounds really nice with its smooth pop style. I mean, just everything about this song is perfect. And I especially love the ending, where both Clover and Sofia's perspectives combine together as they sing at the same time.
Why did I go? How could I go?
It's just perfect.
You have to stay tough and dare to risk it all.
Risk It All is a very powerful song from The Curse of Princess Ivy, and one of the best Disney princess cameo songs, since it is sung by Rapunzel, voiced by the Mandy Moore, same actress from the original Tangled movie. Why did I say that like I'm one of those Nintendo Direct presenters who's like, The Paper Mario, the 1,000-year door game.
Available May 23rd on the Nintendo Switch system.
Anyway, this song is one of those songs that I would just describe as simply beautiful. But don't like take that word as like a massive exaggeration. I just mean that I really like the theme and the moral of the song, as well as the fact that it sounds really nice. If you don't know the story of The Curse of Princess Ivy, Amber steals Sofia's amulet, and that ends up causing a lot of problems because then it gets stolen by Princess Ivy before Sofia can get it back. And the point of Rapunzel's song here is that if Amber wants to fix the problems that she's created, she may have to go to great lengths to actually achieve that.
Your family's in a spot, their backs against the wall.
Oh, and I really like the visuals of this song too, with all the princesses and Cedric on the backs of the dragons flying through the clouds, with this lovely golden hours atmosphere and the pink and purple hues on the clouds. I mean, it all just looks so lovely and really adds to the emotional feeling of the song. During the song, Rapunzel references the events of Tangled and refers to Flynn Rider.
Once I met a man, a thief, a cad.
And her point is that he had to risk it all to ultimately save the day.
He had to stay tough and dare to risk it all.
And I'm sure if you've seen Tangled, you know what she's talking about, in that he effectively dies by the end of the movie.
This is the story of how I died.
Before, you know, Rapunzel brings him back to life with magical tears. But anyway, that of course ties into the ending of this episode, where Amber actually does have to go and face Princess Ivy and risks having her own memories erased by Princess Ivy in order to save Sofia from the same fate, which is ultimately what breaks the curse and stops Princess Ivy. But it comes at the cost of her recent memories. And so I like that this song foreshadows those events and teaches a powerful lesson. Since unfortunately we live in a day and age where everybody seems to think that the center of the universe is me, myself, and I. Not like me specifically, Rockotar, but like, my point is everyone is too selfish. And we really should be putting others first a lot more often than we do.
Try putting others' needs before your own.
Anyway, moving on.
All I sought was a kingdom of my own.
Well, what do you know? It's another song from The Curse of Princess Ivy. This being Ivy's villain song, A Kingdom of My Own, which is a real schnazzy, jazzy piece in which Ivy vents her jealousy and envy over the fact that her sister was made queen instead of herself.
Yet still they made my older sister queen.
And that she deserves a kingdom of her own. And what I really like about this song too is not only that it's catchy and has clever lyrics, like Two-Tone Paradise.
So I can have my two-tone paradise.
Get it? Because she's black and white? Anyway, but also the fact that Ivy reflects Amber's actions in this episode, because even though Amber doesn't realize it yet, this is exactly how she's acting, just in a less obvious fashion, due to the fact that she's envious of the fact that Sofia has an amulet that has all these special powers, and she doesn't. And so, when she steals Sofia's amulet, it summons Ivy as a curse on her to effectively show her, through a literal person, how she is wrong. And I think that's just really clever. I mean, this is a very good episode of the show, I'm just saying. In fact, it's a special, extended length. What's interesting, too, about the way Ivy's portrayed in this song, too, is because of how blinded she is by her selfishness, actually establishes her threat even better than if she was just simply saying she's gonna do all these bad things. No, she wants this because she's dead set on having it, because she can't see it any other way, because she's so blinded by her jealousy and envy.
Spotlight should be mine and mine alone.
So you honestly do feel that Sofia and Amber are kinda in trouble as she's singing this song. Especially because it hits right at a moment where Sofia is telling her not to trust Ivy since she was pretending to be nice before this point. So this whole song also works as the reveal that she is in fact not so nice of a person. Anyway, I could go on, but yeah, this is a very good song.
Why'd I think that I could be the one to save the day?
Save the Day is another song that involves a princess cameo, except believe it or not, the princess doesn't sing this time, which I guess is fitting because it's Merida, and she doesn't sing in her original movie. Also, you know, side note, Merida is somehow more likable in this one scene than she is in her entire original movie, but, you know, anyway. The song itself is actually sung by Sofia, as she expresses her doubts over the fact that she doesn't believe that she can save the day since everything is going wrong.
Oh, can I lead the way? Make everything okay? Just how am I supposed to save the day?
And she just doesn't have what it takes. But Merida ultimately convinces her that she needs to believe in herself more, to have courage and confidence, rather than excessive doubt, which isn't going to help anyone. And not only is this song a really great motivational song, but it really does hit you in the emotions, because there are so many moments where we just genuinely feel like we can't do something, even if we are fully capable of doing it.
Now I feel like I'm a fake, thinking there must be some mistake.
Whether it's out of fear of failure, or perhaps making things worse, or some other reason. Sometimes we just have to grab that doubt and strangle it until it's dead and go show the world that we do have what it takes.
Oh, I can lead the way, make everything okay. I'm the one that has to save the day.
Okay, maybe that doesn't apply 90% of the time, but still, it's a very nice song. I like the string instrument here. Can't say for sure exactly what it is. I haven't memorized all 90 bajillion musical instruments that exist. I'm sorry. Anyway, next. Enchantia is the song that is effectively the national anthem of the entire kingdom of, well, you know, Enchantia.
And your wishes all come true here.
And in this case, it is sung by Sofia's friends, Amber and Jade, and she also does join in near the very end of it as well. But I mean, it's a really good anthem, and the harmony of the voices makes it sound even more official and powerful. The only note I can really think about to say anything for this song really, other than that it's just really great, you know, just in the way that good national anthems are, you know, is the fact that it's briefly interrupted by Sofia's parents saying how proud they are of her for letting her friends sing in her place.
We're so proud of you, Sofia.
Look how happy you've made your friends.
Although you can hear the full version of this song on Spotify, but like I've said before, I'm mostly going off of the versions in the episode, and the interruption isn't too major, thankfully. And that version that you can listen to on the official release is truly immaculate. But yeah, even the version in the episode is really, really great.
All you need.
All You Need is a song that sounds so good just as a song on its own that if you heard it out of context, you might not even realize it comes from a show like Sofia the First. I love the way the song builds up over time, starting with just Sofia singing before Vivian later joins in, as a way to let her get comfortable at first before joining in since she's shy, specifically in this episode, which I think is literally called The Shy Princess or something.
You can strum, I can hum, till you wanna sing along.
And just the whole vibe of this song is so wholesome. As it builds up, I really like too once Vivian does join in, like the harmony is just so nice.
A brand new friend, maybe.
And it ties in perfectly to the whole theme of the song being that sometimes all you need is a friend. Since part of the reason why Vivian is so shy up to this point still is because she has no friends and she's afraid to be friends with anyone, even though that would solve a lot of her problems and issues with how the world sees her. And it's even evident throughout the rest of the series with how people's opinions on Vivian change after this episode, that her friendship with Sofia really did make a difference.
Follow you, take your lead.
So, you know, all that thematic stuff is very nice. And honestly, the song in general is just really wholesome. I feel like you'd have to be a monster to not like this song, for all these various reasons I've explained. I mean, just listen to it for yourself and tell me you don't like it. You can't!
You can always count on Baileywick.
You Can Count on Baileywick is a fantastic song, giving my boy Baileywick, one of the most underrated characters of this show, some well-deserved attention.
He's Baileywick, the man of the castle, does everything without any hustle. And super quick.
And this song has a nice, catchy piano drum rhythm to it that backs up some pretty snappy lyrics.
He jots down all of my proclamations, and he never takes any vacations.
And I really like the bits where it's just playing the rhythm while no one's singing, and it sounds a bit like clockwork, because, you know, he's got his pocket watch and he's always on time.
What would we do without Baileywick?
I don't know, miss. He does everything around here. You can always count on Baileywick.
It's true.
Nice little touch there. Plus, for some reason, there's something about the directing in this song that just feels like they win that extra bit. Like the part near the end where Baileywick's walking down the stairs and the camera like spins around and then it's got the low angle. I mean, like, dang, whoever directed this episode really went all out. I mean, just a really excellent, snappy song.
Never ever burn, ever burn, ever ever burn, ever burn, ever ever burn.
Okay, hear me out on this one. Everburn. Yes, the song that the dragons start singing about Everburn in The Curse of Princess Ivy. Now, I know it's only like 30 seconds long max, but like this one line alone right here.
You see his flames burning oh so bright, down in the second cave on the right.
On the right.
On the right.
Is good enough to justify S tier in my opinion. That is legitimately the funniest moment in any of these songs, and just honestly in general a really, really clever and funny joke. Since, you see, if you don't understand the context, these dragons won't let Sofia, Amber, and Cedric pass to get to Everburn or tell them where to go because they want them to stay and listen to all their songs. So Amber requests that they sing a song about Everburn.
Can you sing a song about Everburn?
Of course we can.
In which they drop that legendary line,
Down in the second cave on the right.
inadvertently leading to Sofia, Amber, and Cedric getting the information that they refused to give them previously and And after the fact, I love that they're oblivious to the fact that they gave them instructions on how to find Everburn because they were so distracted singing that didn't even occur to them. And they just assume that they completely left altogether because they weren't interested in their singing. And then they go on to compliment each other about how good they were anyway.
I thought we were sounding really good.
We were on fire.
Smoking.
I don't know, I'm just saying, this whole bit is too funny for me to put it any lower.
Use all your might to make it right.
Make It Right is a song that's not only catchy and great to listen to, but I think has a very important message that a lot of people in real life need to listen to, as has apparently been the case for multiple of these songs so far. But in this case, Belle shows up to teach Sofia a lesson after she gets cursed by her amulet for being selfish.
Too proud, a little too loud.
And the whole point of the song is basically that you can say sorry all you want, but a lot of the times that isn't good enough to convince people that you actually are sorry or repentant of your previous actions.
But actions speak louder than words.
But that you should also show them through your actions that you have changed and are not like that anymore by making it right.
To fix your mess, do more than confess.
Belle even references the Beast as an example, since he of course had to change the way he went about things, or else he wouldn't have been able to break his own curse either.
About a beast I knew, who fell deep under a spell.
Also, like, they totally used a clip from the extended version of Beauty and the Beast here, so is Sofia the First low-key telling us that the extended version is the true canon version? Watch out, Beauty and the Beast theatrical edition purists! Your entire worldview has been threatened by Sofia the First!
My finest flower, a precious work of art.
My Finest Flower is a song about copyright.
What?
I'm dead serious. You see, this song comes from an episode called Olaf and the Tale of Miss Nettle, because yes, Olaf the Snowman from Frozen is also in this episode about copyright. But anyway, I really like this song because it's really a sad ballad by Miss Nettle about how she poured all her love into creating this super special, unique flower that was authentically and originally hers.
It would have been my masterpiece, such a breathtaking floral creation that rulers from every kingdom would have given a standing ovation.
And then it was stolen by someone else who took all the credit, and now everyone who appreciates her flower doesn't even know she's the one who actually made it. And that last line of the song is honestly, like, genuinely sad.
They don't even know who I am.
And that's the reason she's been going around trying to steal back all her flowers in this episode. So yeah, that's what I mean by it's about copyright. Since the copyright of creating the flowers belongs to Miss Nettle. But the royal gardener of Friesenberg took it and claimed it as his own discovery, therefore receiving all the credit that Miss Nettle should have received in the first place.
My finest flower was taken in its prime. My finest flower, oh what a cold-hearted crime.
And I certainly have my fair share of frustrations when it comes to copyright law, but the basic fundamental premise of copyright is very reasonable, that people should get credit for what they created, and they should have the authority over what happens to that thing that they created, to prevent others from tampering with it or misusing it. So it's kind of funny just how well that's expressed here, even though the actual topic of copyright is never technically brought up. The concept of it is so obviously here. So, a surprisingly deep and emotional song from Miss Nettle of all characters, and I can assure you, you definitely wouldn't expect that.
Oh, you poor misunderstood wicked fairy.
A gift should come from the heart.
From the Heart is definitely a contender for the most beautiful song in this entire show. Sung by Tiana when she shows up, still voiced by Anika Nani Rose, reprising her role from The Princess and the Frog, with a nice Christmas-themed outfit to boot. And I love how simple but effective the theme of this song is. about how it doesn't matter what kind of a gift that you give someone, whether it's extravagant or simple, so long as it's something that came from your heart.
And why it's special is because it comes from you.
That shows you genuinely thought about them. The fact that you considered them and got them something that you genuinely hoped they would like shows that you cared, and that's more valuable than the value of any gift on its own.
What makes the difference is the feeling and the thought.
This is honestly why I think that people who buy presents for people, especially at Christmas time, who just do it kind of out of obligation, are kind of missing the entire point. Since if you're just giving a gift because you feel obligated to give one, then it's not a true gift. A true gift that comes from your heart shows that you are putting that other person first in your mind, even before yourself. And that's the power of this song.
Play with us, come and get it. Play with us, you won't regret it.
Play With Us is not only a real boogie of a song, but it is insanely catchy. Like, they knocked it out of the park with the lyrics and the tune on this one.
This equipment is top notch. Our stands have room for all to watch. And when we win, you'll feel the bliss. Those ducks of Dunwoody can't match this.
Like, I love how smooth that rhyme is, where in order to rhyme with trio, they have Amber and later James, respectively, say, it's James, or Amber in the case of James saying it, you, me, and then use the next word being O to rhyme with trio before smoothly continuing on into the next verse of the song.
We're a trio, yes, it's James and you and me. Oh, play with us.
Like, I mean, that's just pure genius. It manages to solve the dilemma of what to rhyme with trio while also maintaining the smoothness and catchiness of the song. And pretty much the whole song is a duo with James and Amber both singing at the same time, which just makes it even nicer to listen to overall.
Sisters and brothers, look out for one another. So we should play together. We should play together. Friends are nice, but family is forever.
Like, I only have glowing positive things to say about this song. And you know, the fact that this song is so good, and even the previous song, I think pretty much tells you that at this point, just about any of the songs could be number one.
I'll be your helping hand when the need arises.
Helping Hand is easily this show's best song that involves swapping back and forth between two different characters, singing from two different perspectives. In this case being Sofia singing about how she's going to help Baileywick to do well despite the fact that he is currently under a curse, though neither of them know that at the moment, and Baileywick simply thinks that he's getting clumsy.
I'll stand right by your side to help you stay in line.
And the other half of the song is sung by Slickwell, the one-off villain of the episode, who's attempting to steal Baileywick's job by placing the cursed pin on him in the first place.
Now that you're a clumsy clod, Slickwell's going to steal your job!
And unlike other examples of these songs where two different characters are singing two different perspectives, here, the lyrics are blended together so closely and so efficiently that it sounds more like a normal duet despite the fact that the two characters have opposing views.
So if you hesitate or doubt, just look to me, I'll help you out.
Because that serpent pin is cursed, you'll go from being best to worst.
As the lyrics from Sofia will ultimately rhyme with the lyrics of Slickwell, and the way the song bounces back and forth between their two perspectives is a lot faster than the other songs, which matches with the bopping pace of this song, making it even catchier than other examples of this style of song.
I'll be your helping hand when the need arises.
And I will help provide some terrible and cruel surprises.
And also, I just love that line from Slickwell about him kicking you while you're down. Like, I mean...
And if you worry, fret or frown, Slickwell kicks you when you're down.
Absolutely brutal. Just another top-tier song all around.
Bigger is better and biggest is best.
Bigger is Better is a simply iconic song. I mean, what do you expect when it is sung by the iconic Princess Amber herself? This song has some suave to it. I love how much confidence oozes from Amber as she sings this song.
Bigger is better and biggest is best.
And even though the whole point of the episode is that bigger isn't always better, like, Amber does a really good job actually kind of convincing you that it is.
I guarantee bigger is better.
Also, I just love the blatant egotism of Amber here in how she claims that if your party is great, that people will like you as much as they like her. Like as if she's already so great that she's the standard.
Throw a fancy party, make it big as can be, and everyone will say you're as amazing as me.
I mean, it's kind of amazing. Plus, you gotta admit,
I got some hot air balloons and took my body through the sky.
a hot air balloon tea party does sound pretty epic, doesn't it?
I've always known deep down that it was meant to be.
Meant to Be is such an interesting song to me, in that it is a song sung by Amber and a little bit by James as well, from each of their perspectives respectively on how they feel it was meant to be that they would be the ruler of the kingdom rather than the other. And it's really interesting because you usually don't see these two pitted against each other, but there's a lot of depth to this song the more you think about it. And that's on top of the fact that it has a really nice tune to it. Like, there's a subtle but catchy beat to this song. But the layers of the song come in the form of how Amber, the character who's normally perceived as being the more selfish one, is genuinely trying to think of ways that she can better the kingdom and the people by being the leader.
I have so much I know I could offer. I'll help the folks across our land.
Even though there's still a hint of selfishness thrown in there.
I will be queen. That's the path for me. I've always known deep down that it was meant to be.
You can tell that she's genuinely trying to think of it as a role of responsibility. Whereas James, who has perceived Amber's selfishness in her life up to this point, more so than the growth she's had as a person, still thinks that she's too selfish to rule, and thinks that he ought to prove that she's a fool so that he can have control, but he accidentally exposes that he's not really ready for the responsibility by saying that he could just make the rules on his own, as if that's all you do as a leader.
I'm the one who was supposed to end up on the throne, supposed to run this land and make the rules all on my own.
So I think it's really interesting how much depth this song shows between these two characters and how they've changed over the course of the show. As the show goes on, you realize that James is much more fit to be a knight than a ruler, and Amber is initially unfit to be a ruler, but because she undergoes so much character development, she actually becomes worthy of the position by the end of the show. But like I said, James just doesn't see that yet during this song. And honestly, if things didn't get repaired by the end of this episode between the two of them, then this song might have been the start of James's Shakespearean villain arc. But thankfully, that crisis was averted.
You gotta make your wishes well. Make your wishes well.
Make Your Wishes Well is not a very long song, but I think it is the best of this show's shorter songs. Part of me wonders if it had ever gotten an official soundtrack release, if we could have gotten an extended version of it, but alas. The version that is in the episode that's short is still simply excellent even as it is. First of all, I really love the guitar and drum beat that plays throughout the background of this song, because there's just something about it that is just ridiculously catchy. Definitely a head bopper.
The lesson of the tale I tell. You gotta make your wishes well.
But on top of that, this song has some buttery smooth rhymes in its lyrics that are also very clever since, make your wishes well when it comes from an episode where they're making wishes to a wishing well. See? Get it?
Oh, now I get it.
And on top of that, it has a great moral and theme to it, in that if you wish for selfish things, especially wishing for bad things to happen to other people, then you'll probably regret it. Especially if you had the opportunity to wish for something good instead, but you wasted it because you were filled with too much jealousy or spite.
I could have made any dream come true, but that's not what I chose to do.
And I really do wish we could have gotten an official soundtrack release of this though, because there are a couple of really noticeable sound effects like Wormwood squawking, or this big boing sound effect when Clover smacks Wormwood into this plate. that are unfortunately unavoidable whenever you go back to listen to the song, since there's no version that doesn't include them, since the only version you can listen to is the version that plays in the episode. But I mean, there's other songs that include sound effects as well too in the actual episode versions, and that's mostly what I'm considering here, so I'm not docking points for that. I just wish we had an even better standalone version too to listen to separately. That's all I'm saying. Still a masterpiece of a song though.
I was a girl in the village doing alright. Then I became a princess overnight.
The Sofia the First main title theme from the episode All Episodes, which should be obvious because it's the main title theme. You know, I could talk about how this song is catchy or the lyrics are memorable, but that would be boring, wouldn't it? Instead, I'll prove to you how iconic this song is by showing you that I know it by heart. I was a girl in the village doing alright. Then I became a princess overnight. Now I gotta figure out how to do it right. So much to learn and see. Up in the castle with my new family. In a school that's just for royalty. A whole enchanted world is waiting for me. I'm so excited to be Sofia the First. I'm finding out what being royal's all about. Sofia the First, making my way. It's an adventure every day. Sofia, gonna be my time. Sofia, to show them all that I'm Sofia the First. Dun, 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 dun. Bah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Enough said. What You're Gonna Do has got to be one of the most infectious songs in this show, in that it gives you the infection known as the dance bug.
Come on, Sofia, all you got to do is choose. Just pick a school, it's easy to do.
Like, it's near impossible to listen to this song and not want to get up and sway along with the characters to that smooth beat. Plus, this has got to be one of the most relatable songs from one of the most relatable episodes of the whole show.
Don't know what choice to make with all my dreams at stake. It's impossible to pick a school so fast.
I swear, it feels like the Royal School Fair, the episode in question, was actually written for high school graduates and not little kids. Because it's all about the difficulty of picking your profession and where you're going to go in life, and how it can feel like such a hard choice because it will have ramifications for our future, and it's something that's not easy to just take back.
Those other schools are fine, but they don't do the trick. You know, performing arts is the one you should pick. Maybe.
Like, I especially love this line from Sofia about how it's so permanent.
But it's so permanent.
Oh, and speaking of lines I like the bit where Amber says,
For once, James is right. There's no need to stall.
And then he smiles immediately afterwards and straightens his bow tie. Like, that's some pretty iconic stuff. Oh, also, this song gave us this amazing Amber facial reaction right here, which is just peak meme material. Like, I've got that as one of my Discord emojis because it's just too good. Ultimately, everything all together just makes this song just amazing on all fronts.
King Cedric the Great.
Cedric the Great is a top-tier villain song. This time it being Cedric venting his frustrations and desires about how he deserves to be king.
Soon everyone will know my name.
What's interesting about this song is its main purpose is actually to make us feel bad for Cedric, rather than to establish him as a threat. As we kind of already know at this point, he's not much of a threat, even though he kind of fancies himself one.
When I'm the king, everyone will bow, and only do the things King Cedric will allow.
But as he explains in this song, nobody really treats him with any respect and thinks he's just a complete screw-up.
Anytime I try to cast a little spell, no one thinks it turns out very well.
Which is the primary motivation for why he's trying to do what he's trying to do, that being become the king. And this song is filled with so many great magical visuals too. Like, the direction is simply on point throughout this song. It makes it even more memorable than just the lyrics alone would have. And I absolutely love the bit where Baileywick comes in and interrupts Cedric, and he just falls flat on the floor. And then, because Baileywick tells him to be quiet,
Cedric, All this noise is disturbing the king's supper. Please keep it down.
He just whispers the final part of the song.
You can tell me I'm no good and call me second rate.
Which is just amazing, and it's a perfect way to reflect the fact that nobody really respects Cedric or takes him very seriously as a threat. So for being an excellent villain song that's great to listen to on its own, and doing a ton of work for expanding Cedric's character and really making us feel for him, this song has rightfully earned its place in the top 10.
So let me kiss that world goodbye and give the simple life a try.
The Simple Life is, to me, the single most catchy song in this entire show. Like, it just has a certain energy to it, on top of having a really great melody and background beat and tune and rhythm, or whatever the most befitting mumbo-jumbo musical term is. The fact of the matter is, my ears like it. It's also a rarity to see a song where King Roland takes the main center stage as the primary singer.
Don't leave my hands in every matter. I only want to mix this batter.
Like, he occasionally makes additions to a couple other songs, but this is the only one where he is the primary singer. And honestly, it kind of makes you wish we got a little bit more of King Roland as the primary singer. But I guess that's just because there's not too many King Roland-centered episodes. This one, The Baker King, being one of the only exceptions, which is, by the way, a very interesting episode, and that's kind of the whole point of the song, is that in the episode, King Roland accidentally magically switches lives with the town baker, in that all of reality is literally altered so that he was the baker and not the king all along, until it's fixed, of course, at the end. And he has to learn that just because he thinks the life of a baker is simpler and easier, that's not necessarily the case, and different people were made with different talents. And he was always meant to be the king, because that's what he's good at doing, not being a baker.
I'm sure our days will be breezy here, living the simple life.
But at the point in which the song plays, he's still stubbornly trying to prove that he can be a baker anyway, because he's kind of tired of being the king, and hasn't yet realized how important it is that he is the king.
Let's all get off the royal fast track. A baker's life is much more laid back.
And all those circumstances ultimately led to what I have previously already said is the catchiest song in the show. And I love the way that the song builds up throughout the course. It truly feels like a story unfolding in the form of a song. Which makes it such a satisfying listen every time I rehear it.
I'm not sure that's a word. I mean, it's the most awesomest word ever.
Well, anyway, it's an absolutely fantastic song that's connected to a great story as well.
This is my time.
My Time is easily this show's most epic song, being the final song of Elena and the Secret of Avalor, in which Elena proudly declares her mission and how she's been waiting all her life for the moment to finally go and take back her kingdom.
I've come too far to be denied.
There's such a strong conviction to this song, and it genuinely feels heroic, which is something that you can't really say about too many other Sofia the First songs.
This is my time.
And it's really interesting too, because this is like right after we first meet Elena, like prior to her getting her own TV series. And it's honestly a really strong first impression for the character.
I must fly to the palace once more to win back the freedom of all Avalor.
Like, you don't usually get introduced to a Disney princess while she's singing about how she's going to take back her kingdom from an evil sorceress, and singing so with such confidence and determination.
But now that I'm here, there's a mission at hand to drive that witch out of our beautiful land.
Like, you can't help but root for her, especially after everything Sofia's gone through up to this point to free her from the amulet. And of course, I'd be remiss to mention the reprise near the end of the special, where all the people of Avalor come together, singing the same song as they march upon the gates of the castle.
This is our time, together as one we won't fail. Our time, this time we know we'll prevail.
Once again, just fitting that epic mood that you don't usually see. And honestly, I really just have no notes about this song other than it's excellent in every single category. If you feel like you need motivation, just listen to this song and feel the determination flow through you. Stronger Than You Know is both the best motivational song of this series and the best Disney princess cameo song. I mean, is that really a surprise considering it comes from Mulan, the best Disney princess, who isn't even technically a princess, but that's besides the point. Like, there's some genuine power to this song. I don't know how else to describe it, but like, it genuinely makes you feel like you can do anything.
You may be small, but give it your all, and you will finally show.
Like, no challenge is too tough to overcome. It's basically just an even more effective version of Save the Day, which was already a good song. Except the difference, of course, is that one had a section about doubts, whereas this is just purely about overcoming your doubts and realizing that the strength to overcome challenges is already inside you, even if you don't know it.
We are stronger than we know.
And I think it's really fitting in how they connect this to Mulan, because of the fact that Mulan is the perfect character to showcase overcoming challenges and realizing that you're stronger than you know, with everything that she had to overcome in her own story.
I know a lot about overcoming doubt.
Plus, I love the instruments used in this song. Whatever that Asian-style instrument that is there, that I'm not even gonna pretend to know what it's called, adds a really unique style to this song. And the drums just add to the powerful feeling of the song. But there's also some emotional undertones to it too. And if those weren't there, it wouldn't be nearly as effective. But everything just comes together so perfectly and nicely. It's simply an outstandingly good song. I could easily listen to it over and over again.
But you just gotta take a leap, throw your doubts away.
Take a Leap is the definitive inspirational song of this series. And it's also the song I was referring to earlier when talking about Believe in Your Dream, that I said was the better Believe in Yourself song. Because Take a Leap is all about expressing who you really are, even when that goes against societal expectations.
Now's the time to let them see the person you were meant to be.
And risks you being embarrassed by other people, as Hugo is a fan of ice dancing, but he doesn't know of any other male ice dancers in all the kingdom, which would make him the single sole boy in a group that otherwise consists only of women, which puts him on the spot for potential mockery as being some sort of feminine boy or something, even though there isn't anything inherently feminine about ice dancing. It's just the way that society has marked that in his culture.
You spin through the air, and it's like you can fly. The great rush that you're feeling is 'cause you gave it a try.
Which is something very relatable, I think, to many people in real life. In that so many people are looked down upon for liking certain things that are viewed as supposedly only being for girls or only being for guys, even though there's nothing about those things that specifically lock them to that gender. I mean, like, I'm sure everyone knows that there's this weird taboo about guys saying their favorite color is pink.
What is your favorite color?
Pink! Not like a hot pink or a pastel-y pink. Just a kind of, well, a pink. You know what I mean? I mean, none of the rinky-dink pinks.
Even though there's absolutely nothing wrong with guys liking the color pink. But our culture has basically designated it as the girl color. So guys feel weird if they say pink is their favorite color, even if that's their accurate, true opinion. And there are many other examples of such similar things, but I think you get my point. But the whole point of this song is about that you don't need to be afraid, even if people will think you're weird.
You step on the ice, so you feel your heart race, and your knees won't stop shaking. You can't find your brave face.
Because you should just be yourself, even if society will look down on you anyway. And you should be brave and bold about that, not awkward and embarrassed, because there isn't anything actually wrong with it.
But you just gotta take a leap, throw your doubts away. Take the leap, no matter what they say.
And I absolutely love the animation here too of Hugo's ice dancing. Like, his moves are animated so gracefully and so smoothly that it's a wonder to behold. And I love when the other girls join in the song later on, creating that beautiful harmony near the end. That just emphasizes the main point even better. I mean, like, I have nothing but absolutely glowing praise for this song. And it is fully deserving of the #1 spot. That is, if it weren't for one other song that's just a little bit more meaningful. I've kind of already talked about it in my Cedric video, but My Evil Dreams is genuinely one of my favorite songs of all time, like, period. It is a song that shows us the inner conflict and turmoil inside of Cedric as he's at war with himself over whether he should do the right thing and give up all his dreams of becoming King of Enchantia because of his friendship with Sofia, or whether he should go through with that plan that he's always desired, now offered to him on a silver platter, even if it costs him the friendship of the one and only person who's ever been nice to him.
But now the day has come, and the kingdom can be mine. So why am I so gloomy when I should be feeling fine?
And it's such a deep song, since ultimately by the end of the song, Cedric makes the wrong choice, not the right choice. He chooses to try and follow his evil dream instead of doing the right thing. And also, I just think that it is so clever and kind of tragic at the same time how Cedric sings about how his evil dreams were his friends when no one else was. And it's those evil dreams that he now needs to give up that were the very thing that helped him push on in life and not just give up. It's part of what makes it so hard for him to make the right choice and why he ultimately fails during this song.
My evil dreams were my friends when I was all alone. My evil schemes made me feel like I had a home.
And as I mentioned in my Cedric video, the way the song ends with those negative sounding music notes, giving you almost a sense of despair, like things have gone wrong, is just so perfectly tragic.
My evil dreams will finally come true.
And we can see that the thing that pushes him over the edge is Wormwood trying to manipulate him and tell him that he has to prove that he's this great sorcerer and become the King of Enchantia, because if he doesn't, then people will continue to mock and laugh at him all the rest of his life.
The princess may be nice to you, but what about the rest? All those who point and laugh at you must see that you're the best.
And it's sad to watch because you genuinely feel bad for Cedric, because you don't want him to be mocked by people, but you also know that if he goes through with what Wormwood's saying, then he's making the wrong decision. And near the end of the song too, when he's like,
and then at last, yes at last,
you can see from the animation that it's like he's fighting to contain his true self, to keep forcing this evil persona that he shouldn't even have anymore at this point, because he should know that he's better off being a good guy rather than a villain. But he's convinced himself so badly that being the villain is what he's meant to be, that it's hard for him to break out of that mindset, even if he knows deep down that it isn't the truth. I mean, it's just literally one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in my entire life, and I won't hear otherwise. And that's why, as good as a lot of the previous songs were, this one was always going to be #1 from the moment that I first heard it. I mean, this is honestly the best conflicted Disney villain song since Hellfire in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And it comes from Sofia the First of all things. But hey, isn't it fitting that Cedric, the best character of the show, also has the best song of the show? He really do be keeping it iconic, don't he? Well, yeah, I guess that basically wraps up all my opinions on Sofia the First's various songs. Be sure to tell me what your favorite song is in the comment section down below, or even what your least favorite song is, or maybe your top 10 songs, or if you're crazy, you can post your whole ranking in the comment section too. I don't care, just keep the discussion going, because I'm curious to see what you guys think. And of course I have to give a thank you to all the people who support me on Patreon or our channel members. My iconic patrons get access to early videos, as well as some occasional exclusive content. Although you can also join my Patreon for free and get access to the occasional sneak peek video for some of my upcoming rankings, although you have to upgrade for as little as $1 a month to have access to all the other content. And channel members get access to loyalty badges and some exclusive emojis. So if you're interested in any of that, feel free to join. Well, if you're still interested in watching this channel, then you can check out my previous Sofia the First related video where I talk about Cedric for a very long time because he's a good character. Or you could maybe check out this playlist of all the ranking videos I've done so far on this channel. But most importantly of all, always remember to be iconic.